Chapter 831. In the City Lord's Manor of East Cloud City, Xuanhuan went into seclusion after informing xianxia. This time she had not been able to defeat Wuyo and had even returned injured. This made her very angry. After analyzing the situation, Xuanhuan knew that she couldn't defeat or suppress Wuyo with just 3 attributes. She planned to cultivate her 4th attribute, the darkness attribute, to the ultimate attribute and then merge it with the other 3 ultimate attributes. At that time, the power of her spatial shackles would be greatly increased, and she would be able to defeat Wuyo. Translator. Audiobook Studio Editor. Audiobook Studio. As for killing Wuyo, Xuanhuan knew that she couldn't do it. No one under the Saint Realm could kill a quasi-saint like Wuyo who could control the law of space. Xuanhuan and Xiangluo didn't say anything. Xuanhuan wasn't the one who couldn't turn the situation around. It was the profound mysteries realm's disharmony that had delayed the battle. Even the profound Heaven Sword sect and the Stream Cloud Sword sect, who had suffered great losses, couldn't say anything. Knight Sorrow spent 2 days on the 70th floor of the Spacetime Pagoda to raise his true energy cultivation to the 8th rank. He stood up and stretched his body. After resting for a while, Knight Sorrow took out the Blood Spirit Tortoise Crystal, communicated with Little Kong and began cultivating. Yishang stabilized his true Qi cultivation base. While cultivating the Myriad Dao's treasured tome, he was also comprehending the power of laws released by the heavenly fate pearl of nihility. When he wanted to deduce the power of laws, Yishang told Little Sky to stop pouring energy into him because it would be a waste. After comprehending the power of law, Knight Sorrow's soul strength increased rapidly. In addition, Knight Sorrow felt that he was very close to completely refining the Void Fate Pearl. The reason the Void Fate Pearl released the power of law was because Knight Sorrow's soul strength had reached a certain level. This time, Knight Sorrow didn't easily come out of seclusion. He cultivated bitterly for 2 months. He only stopped when his cultivation of the Myriad Dao Tome reached the peak of the 6th rank of the Spirit Refinement Realm. At this time, Knight Sorrow's comprehension of law was very deep. Knight Sorrow then went to the 60th floor of the Spacetime Pagoda. Seeing the arrival of Knight Sorrow, Xueshi woke up from her meditation. "You seem to be in good shape," Knight Sorrow said as he sat down. "You've recovered to the level of a 6-star saint. You're getting closer and closer to your peak. You're doing well too. The blood chi in your body is getting stronger and stronger. Although I can't hear it, I can feel the sound of your blood flowing. A drop of your blood is probably heavier than a top-grade chi refinement metal." Xueshi shared her feelings. "I've made some progress. I'll have to trouble you to test it out with me," Knight Sorrow said with a smile. "Of course, no problem. Tell me how you want to test it." Xueshi looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. She was looking forward to Knight Sorrow's advancement. "The power of laws is completely suppressing me," Knight Sorrow said. Xueshi nodded and released her rule force. Following the release of Xueshi's rule force, the 60th floor of the Spacetime Pagoda was filled with the power of fused wind and water. Knight Sorrow raised his protective barrier. The barrier was filled with streaks of purple light, and the streaks were filled with threads. Knight Sorrow's body began to flicker within the Spacetime Pagoda. After flickering for a while, Knight Sorrow stopped. "I can maintain 80% of my peak speed. The effect is very strong. I still have to continue comprehending it," Knight Sorrow said after thinking for a moment. "You're really an idiot. You're using your chi to drive the power of laws. Don't you know how to use your soul strength? When your soul strength fuses with your rule force, it will spread outwards. Isn't that just giving you space to move?" Xueshi was speechless at Knight Sorrow. "Haha, I'm really an idiot. I never thought of that." Knight Sorrow smiled embarrassedly. "How do saints use the power of law to suppress their opponents?" Xueshi explained to Yishang. "The speed at which saints use their power of law to suppress their opponents isn't that fast. They use their soul power to fuse with the power of law." "I understand. Thank you," Knight Sorrow said as he reached out to hold Xueshi's arm. "Don't work too hard. You have to take care of your body. Such a high-intensity cultivation is a huge burden on your body and soul," Xueshi said to Knight Sorrow. "I know. Are you bored here? Is there anything you want to do? I can find a place where there's no one and let you out," Knight Sorrow said as he cupped Xueshi's face with both hands. "No. If there is, I'll tell you." Xueshi buried her head in Knight Sorrow's embrace. After a passionate session with Xueshi, the two of them helped each other cultivate for a while. Then Knight Sorrow left the Spacetime Pagoda. After taking a look around, Yishang paid a visit to some of the elders. Knight Sorrow had been cultivating in the Spacetime Pagoda for 2 months. Only 1 month had passed in the outside world, so there hadn't been much change. Night Moon's 4 peak venerables had all reached the undefeatable realm, and the 9 realms world's peak venerables had also appeared. Night Sorrow's dragon spirit pill was a huge benefit to those cultivators who lacked resources. When he had nothing to do, Night Sorrow went to the edge of the realm sea to cultivate his spatial cracks. He used the chaotic flow of the spatial cracks to temper his cultivation base. At the same time, he used Xuexi's advice to cultivate his nihility rule force. In the past, when he used his chi to stimulate the rule force, Night Sorrow's comprehension of the rule force could only affect a radius of 6 meters around him. Now that he used his soul strength, the area he could control was much larger. It could be said that the nihility rule force could cover dozens of meters around him. Night Sorrow could also control a specific area. Night Sorrow didn't use nihility rule force to protect his body. That way, his chi and the myriad Dao Tome's energy wouldn't be consumed, and there would be no point in tempering himself. Time and time again he exhausted all the energy in his body and then recovered it again and again. Under this kind of tempering, Yishan's cultivation became more and more solid. In addition, Xuexi often helped him nourish his body. After another round of nourishment, Night Sorrow looked at Xuexi and smiled. I haven't spent as much time with my 3 fiancées as you. If you have time you can talk to them. Of course. My wind origin body's foundation is very stable. I don't need too much of your essence chi to advance from the small perfection to the great perfection. On the other hand, they need it. If you have time you can bring 6th senior sister Li in. I'll guide her in condensing a peak body, said Xuexi. That's fine, but it'll be later. I have to cultivate my body to the 7th rank of the spirit refinement realm. That way I'll reach the late stage of the spirit refinement realm. Not only will the myriad Dao Tome's energy be denser, but my body's defensive power will also increase. At that time, if Jun Xuanji comes again, I'll be able to fight him, said Night Sorrow. Xuexi nodded. She knew that with his true chi cultivation at the 8th level of the Exalt realm, coupled with his mastery of the laws of nothingness, and his body's defense, Night Sorrow had the ability to fight against anyone below the Saint realm. After cultivating for 2 more days, Night Sorrow decided to go into seclusion. After saying goodbye to Sikong Chuyu and Yang Lei, he sent Aoi into the spacetime pagoda so that she and Xuexi could learn. Then Night Sorrow entered the 70th floor of the spacetime pagoda. He took out the blood spirit turtle crystal and began to cultivate. At the same time, he continued to strengthen his bloodline and comprehend the nihility rule force. 2 days later, Night Sorrow's myriad Dao Tome reached the 7th level of the spirit refinement realm. He stretched his body and drank 2 mouthfuls of wine. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow clenched his teeth and made a decision. Chapter 832. Night Sorrow decided not to come out of seclusion and use the myriad Dao Tome's energy to strengthen his body. At the same time, he would eat the dragon spirit pill to raise his cultivation to the peak of 8th level venerable and continue to comprehend the power of laws. Night Sorrow felt a little anxious, but the situation of the battle was constantly changing. If Yi Wuyo couldn't hold on when Jun Xuanji came again, it would be troublesome. Jun Xuanji could bring a spaceship directly into the 9-domain world and start a war everywhere. After making his decision, Night Sorrow didn't hesitate. After eating the dragon spirit pill, he sat down cross-legged and began to cultivate. This time, the strengthening of his body was only a small amount, so the pain wasn't too deep. It didn't affect Night Sorrow's comprehension of the power of laws and cultivation of true chi. 3 days later, Night Sorrow finished strengthening his body and started to cultivate the myriad Dao Tome. With Shao Kong's power of time, Night Sorrow's myriad Dao Tome's energy increased in quantity and his elemental energy was also in a state of saturation. Yishang did not have to deliberately think about the cultivation of the myriad Dao Tome, nor did he have to worry about the improvement of his bloodline talent. While absorbing the energy of the dragon spirit pill to cultivate his true chi, Yishang worked hard to comprehend the power of laws. After using 12 days, Night Sorrow finished strengthening his body and increasing his true chi. In addition, his comprehension of the power of laws and soul power increased greatly. Night Sorrow even felt that it wouldn't be long before he could condense a god pearl. After stretching his waist, Night Sorrow returned to the 60th floor of the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda. At this time, Xuexi was guiding Aoi's cultivation of the ultimate attribute. Night Sorrow, you can't cultivate like this. No matter how you consolidate, you won't be able to eliminate the drawbacks of increasing your cultivation in a short period of time. Seeing that Night Sorrow's cultivation had reached the peak of 8th level venerable, Xuexi's expression changed. I was a little rash this time, but I will work hard to stabilize my cultivation. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew in his heart that he had gone overboard this time. After exchanging a few words with the two women, Night Sorrow returned to the Nine Regions world. He didn't go see anyone, but he went to the edge of the realm's sea and tore open space. He practiced the use of the power of laws while tempering his cultivation base. Night Sorrow's compatibility with the space-splitting spear had increased. Although it was not as smooth as the reincarnation spear, its power had reached the level of a middle-grade spiritual weapon. Q permanent 9G free 1C fee as small as said are with the passage of time, Night Sorrow felt that his condition had improved. He no longer felt as weak as he did a few days ago. Night Sorrow felt at ease because even if Xuanhuan came, he could still fight. This meant that the more time he had, the more confident he would be. After cultivating for 2 days, Night Sorrow returned to the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda once and cultivated with the two women. He gave his essence to Aoi, but Xuexi helped Night Sorrow condense his cultivation. After cultivating, Night Sorrow let Xuexi test the strength of his body again. Without wearing a shirt, Night Sorrow stood in front of Xuexi and let her attack. Xuexi used her 7th level sovereign cultivation but didn't pierce Night Sorrow's body. She only pushed Night Sorrow back a bit. "Increase your cultivation," Night Sorrow said. Xuexi then used her cultivation as a level 8 venerable, and the flowing windsword's power reached the level of a high-grade spiritual weapon. Only then did she manage to leave a 2-inch deep wound on Yishang's chest when he was knocked back. "If your cultivation surpasses mine, you can break my body's defense. However, I haven't infused my energy yet. Let's try again," Night Sorrow said as he glanced at the wound that was beginning to heal. "Okay." Xuexi looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Night Sorrow nodded and infused the myriad Tao treasure's energy into his body. Xuexi attacked again, but she only pushed Night Sorrow back and left a white mark on Night Sorrow's body. She didn't break through Night Sorrow's body's defense. After standing firm, Night Sorrow exhaled, "Not bad. There's no need to try again. Even if she's a 9th level sovereign, her attack will only injure me slightly. It won't be a big problem." After wiping his wound that had already healed, Night Sorrow put on his robe. "If your soul power and law power can keep up, you can fight anyone below the saint stage," Xuexi looked at Night Sorrow and said. "If I have enough time, I can also condense my soul power into a god bead," Night Sorrow said. "You're not far from condensing a soul bead." Xuexi looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. "At my current speed, I'll definitely be able to condense a god bead in 2 months, Night Sorrow said. "Don't rush around recklessly. Do it steadily." Xuexi was a bit worried about Night Sorrow. The main reason was that Night Sorrow's cultivation was rising too quickly. After drinking a pot of tea with the two women, Night Sorrow returned to the Nine Regions world. After that, Night Sorrow went to visit Long Shenxing, his parents, Xialanjun, Wu Lingfei and the others. When they saw Night Sorrow's cultivation, they were shocked because Night Sorrow's cultivation had already reached the peak of the 8th level sovereign realm. After chatting for a while, Night Sorrow went to the edge of the realm's sea, intending to continue consolidating his cultivation. However, Wuyo followed him. "Night Sorrow, don't worry too much. That woman is strong, but I can still handle her. After all, she only has an ordinary attribute. Even if she has an extreme attribute, she still can't suppress my high attribute." Wuyo didn't want Night Sorrow to feel too much pressure. "Father, don't worry. If she comes again, I'll fight her," Night Sorrow said. "Your cultivation base is still a bit low. Furthermore, you've only just begun to comprehend law power. You won't be able to fight her. The difference between a sovereign and a half-saint is a watershed," said Wuyo. "Father, I'm cultivating a spatial crack. I'll use chaotic space to consolidate my cultivation base. You can also come and watch." In order to reassure Wuyo, Night Sorrow directly invited him. "All right." Wuyo smiled. Night Sorrow then took off his robes, leaving only his combat pants on. While Wuyo was still in a daze, he tore through space and entered the chaotic space. After entering the chaotic space, Night Sorrow used a protective barrier to protect his lower body, allowing the chaotic space to bombard his upper body. Night Sorrow stood there, enduring the chaotic space's attacks. The chaotic space's energy couldn't even cut through his hair. After standing there for a while, Night Sorrow activated his protective barrier. At the same time, he unleashed his law power and charged forward. The law of nothingness was a supreme attribute law. Even the destructive energy within the chaotic space could only resist it. On the other hand, all other attributes were suppressed and melted away. This allowed Night Sorrow to maintain his speed. A moment later, he was 150 miles away. He tore through space and appeared in the Nine Realms world. Night Sorrow looked at his father. "Father, how do you feel?" "That supreme law power. Yi Wuyo looked at his son in surprise. Yes, so no matter how stable I am, I'll have no problem fighting against Xuanhuan. Don't worry, father. Any attack below the 9th level of the Exalted Realm won't even be able to break through my defense. Even if her attack contains the power of laws, it'll be weakened by my protective barrier and won't be able to injure me, said Yishan. Very good. Let's not talk about anything else. Just this spatial tear of yours will allow you to travel long distances. No one below a saint will be able to kill you. Don't worry. Next time she comes, you'll deal with her. Yi Wuyo was very confident in his son. Chapter 833. Yi Wuyo's confidence wasn't blind. He wouldn't joke about his son's safety. Just now, his spatial laws had been suppressed in the chaotic streams of space. That made him understand that no matter how fierce Xuanhuan was, he wouldn't be able to overcome the suppression of a sovereign's attribute. With this trump card, Night Sorrow was undefeatable. New /D nethead XAF. Furthermore, Night Sorrow's spatial rend allowed him to survive in the chaotic streams of space. No one below the Saint Realm could kill him. What shocked Yi Wuyo the most was Night Sorrow's physical strength. Night Sorrow had endured the chaotic streams of space without using a protective barrier. That chaotic spatial storm, which had the power of a 7th or 8th rank venerable, hadn't injured Night Sorrow in the slightest. The two of them went to the edge of the realm sea and began drinking a jug of wine. A moment later, Yuqing came over. You two really are something. Why didn't you get something to go with the wine? Fortunately, I still have some meat. I don't have any more regrets. With a son like this and a wife like this, what more could a husband ask for? Yi Wuyo smiled and drank a large mouthful. Yes. Even if there's danger, even if there's war, our family is still happy together, said Yuqing. When I was young, I saw other children with parents. I always thought about what kind of people my parents were. Over the years, I've always pictured them in my heart. But no matter how I pictured them, they were all fake. Only when I saw my parents did I feel at ease, said Night Sorrow. It's all because your father wasn't strong enough to protect you back then, said Yi Wuyo apologetically. Father, don't say that. In truth, this is fate. She also gave me a different life. The past 20 years might have been hard, but it was very fulfilling. I got to know many people I shouldn't have known in my life. Old Man Gu, my master, my senior apprentice brothers, and my 3 fiancés. This is also very good. It's just that I wasn't able to fulfill my filial duties in front of my parents. But I think there's still a long way to go. It's not too late, said Night Sorrow. Yes, it's not too late. In the future, our Yi clan will dominate the world, Yi Wuyo said with a smile. After drinking, Yi Wuyo and Yuqing left. They also needed to cultivate. Night Sorrow continued to cultivate. He had no intention of increasing his cultivation level. He wanted to stabilize his cultivation level and continue to comprehend the power of laws to strengthen his soul power. During this period of time, Night Sorrow understood that the power of the soul was the foundation to use the power of the law. With no one to disturb him, Night Sorrow stayed at the edge of the realm sea, stabilizing his cultivation base in the spatial rifts. In the blink of an eye, half a month went by. Night Sorrow emerged from the spatial crack once more. Stretching his waist, he said, Now, my foundation has finally stabilized. However, my comprehension of the power of laws has improved greatly during this period. My soul power has also improved considerably. Yishang did not deliberately seek to improve his cultivation. Whether it was his genuine qi or the cultivation of the myriad Tao treasured tome, they could be improved naturally. What he valued now was the improvement of his soul power and the control of the power of rules. Those were the foundation of everything. After resting for a while, Night Sorrow once more began to cultivate. He felt that cultivating the power of laws was the fastest way to improve his soul power. As Night Sorrow worked hard on his cultivation, the people of the 9 Realms world were also rapidly increasing their strength. In the western nether region's East Cloud City, Xuanhuan came out of seclusion. Holy daughter, how's your advancement? Asked Xuanhuan. I've already comprehended the ultimate darkness attribute. Now, I need to fuse it with the other 3 ultimate attributes. That'll take some time. Yi Wuyo has the spatial attribute, so he shouldn't have any room for improvement. In the next battle, I'll be able to suppress him. Once I suppress him, the rest of us will be able to crush him and secure our victory, said Xuanhuan. There are many variables in this battle. We've lost the initiative, so we can only advance steadily, said Xuanhuan. Yes. You don't need to feel too burdened. At the very least, we've occupied the western nether region. If we can't suppress them, then we'll just conquer the western nether region first. We're in a passive position right now because we didn't listen to your suggestion back then, said Shangluo. Time slowly passed. Night Sorrow's control over the power of laws grew deeper and deeper. His soul power also rapidly increased. He was getting closer and closer to condensing a divine bead. On this day, just as Night Sorrow had recovered and was about to tear open space to cultivate, the Profound Mysteries Realms spatial ship appeared once more. Following the appearance of the ship, the 9 Realms Worlds people instantly gathered. Even the saints came to watch. Yuyo, come out. Let's fight again. Xuanhuan appeared in front of the spatial ship. Do you think it's enough now? Yuyo took a few steps forward. I might not be able to kill you, but I can beat you until you flee. At that time I'll see who can block my path. I'll kill whoever dares to stop me. Xuanhuan will definitely conquer the 9 Realms world. Xuanhuan waved her sleeves and roared. This time she had cultivated 4 elements into one. She was determined to suppress Yuyo. Then she would lead her people to crush him. Shameless boasting. Today Night Sorrow will fight you. Night Sorrow raised his reincarnation spear and walked to the front of the 9 Realms Worlds people. Seeing Night Sorrow arrive, all the sovereigns cupped their hands in greeting. Do you think you're qualified? Xuanhuan's eyes were filled with disdain. Who do you think you are to talk about qualifications with me? If you think I'm not qualified, then I'll kill my way into your camp tomorrow. At that time, you won't be able to fight me just because you want to, said Night Sorrow as he waved his reincarnation spear. Haha, good courage. Then I'll give you a chance to fight. Although defeating you won't give me any sense of accomplishment, you're still one of the 9 Realms World's commanders. It'll be meaningful, said Xuanhuan. There are a few types of people I hate. One of them is people like you who think you're infallible. People who boast shamelessly the moment they open their mouths are very annoying. I especially hate that self-righteous mouth of yours, said Yishan. You must die today. Xuanhuan swung his sword and charged at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's body trembled, and he drew an arc in the air as he charged into the Realm Sea. Nonsense, the Realm Sea's law energy is attacking. The Flying Tiger Saint was worried and wanted to stop him. However, he was stopped by Long Xianxia. What are you so excited about? The 9 Realms World's commanders are fools. At this moment, Night Sorrow and Xuanhuan charged over and began fighting. Night Sorrow's body contained immense power, and even though his cultivation base was not as high as Xuanhuan's, he wasn't at a disadvantage. Instead, he was forcing Xuanhuan back. Your body is very strong, but it's useless. You don't understand the difference between us. Law suppression. After mocking Night Sorrow, Xuanhuan unleashed her law energy to suppress Night Sorrow. She planned to use her realm to suppress him and then kill him. She had been infuriated by Night Sorrow's smelly mouth, and now she just wanted to kill Night Sorrow to vent her anger. Chapter 834. At this time, purple streaks of light appeared on Night Sorrow's body and blocked Xuanhuan's attack. After blocking Xuanhuan's law suppression, Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and used the 7-star brilliant moon spear to suppress Xuanhuan. Night Sorrow's spear attack, excluding the strength of his true chi, also had the strength of over 100,000 kilograms. It wasn't something Xuanhuan could block. While Xuanhuan was wondering why his law power couldn't suppress Night Sorrow, he was already pushed back by Night Sorrow. He had to rely on his agility to stabilize himself. However, Xuanhuan found that he still couldn't do it. That was because Night Sorrow's protective barrier was extremely strong against space, and his speed and agility were high. His speed wasn't as fast as Night Sorrow's, so he was constantly attacked. After being continuously attacked by Night Sorrow, Xuanhuan's chi and blood were shaken. He was already unable to stabilize himself. Night Sorrow was fast and powerful. The power of each of his spear attacks was something he couldn't bear. Do you see that? This is the effect of being fast and powerful. Xuanhuan can only passively take a beating, said Long Xianxia. After being continuously attacked by Night Sorrow, Xuanhuan felt that he couldn't handle it anymore. His body swayed and 3 kinds of spatial shackles pressed down on Night Sorrow. Spatial shackles. Break from me. Night Sorrow roared, and the purple ripples on his body violently shook in all directions. Xuanhuan's spatial shackles were directly broken. After breaking the spatial shackles, Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear once again stabbed toward Xuanhuan. Xuanhuan retreated while using spatial shackles to control Night Sorrow's attack speed. But it was completely useless. The purple streaks on Night Sorrow's body directly shattered his spatial shackles. He didn't seem to be struggling at all. You think I'm not qualified? Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear violently attacked, and he continued to suppress Xuanhuan. Then I'll give you the 4 extremes combined attack that I prepared for your father. At this moment, Xuanhuan revealed his trump card, the four extremes combined kill, a consummate skill that he had just developed. Then, for types of rule force visible to the naked eye, pressed down on Night Sorrow. Break for me. Night Sorrow roared. The purple halo around his body rippled in all directions, rushing towards the confinement of the four elemental laws. Xuanhuan's four extremes combined attack was very strong. However, it only managed to resist Night Sorrow's rule force for a moment before it was dispersed. At that moment, Xuanhuan's face became unsightly. She did not know what was going on. She knew that something had gone wrong when the four extremes attack was broken in an instant. After using the quadrupole combined kill 3 times in a row and controlling Night Sorrow's speed, Xuanhuan's body flashed and entered the spaceship. Then the spaceship quickly left. By the time Night Sorrow broke through the four extremes combined attack, the spaceship had already left. Moreover, the spaceship's defense was extremely strong. It was not something that could be broken through in a short moment. Night Sorrow did not chase after it. After a few flashes, he returned to the shore of the realm's sea. He put the reincarnation spear back into the holster on his back and hung the ice silk bag that contained the phantom Dowstone clone on his waist. Before every real battle, Night Sorrow would put away his soul clone to prevent it from being contaminated by other people's auras. Night Sorrow, you win. Wu Lingfei came to Night Sorrow's side. But I still can't take her down, Night Sorrow said as he looked in the direction the spaceship had left. Your cultivation is not as high as hers, and your rule force is not as smooth as hers. It's already not easy to defeat her. You should be satisfied, said Wu Lingfei as she patted Night Sorrow's shoulder. Son, you lost to a quasi-sage. Yu Qing also came to Night Sorrow's side. She's a quasi-sage, so she doesn't have much room to grow. But you're different. You have a lot of room to grow. Next time we meet, she won't be a match for you, said Long Shenxing. I still need time, said Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was clear about his own situation. He did have a lot of room to grow, but time was of the essence. He didn't know what other methods his opponent had. We don't lack time. As long as they can't break in, time is not a problem. Their commander has been defeated and their morale will drop, said Sky Underworld Saint. Next, we need to prepare for our counterattack. We need to confirm where the spatial channel between the 9 regions world and the profound mysteries realm is, said Night Sorrow. Then let me go investigate, said Yu Wuyo. No. Xuanhuan's 4 extremes attack was designed for you. You can't go, said Night Sorrow. He couldn't let his father take the risk. But we need to know where the spatial channel is. Only then will we have a chance to counterattack, said Yu Wuyo. Look at KYV chapter C section #Q8VNetL, I'll take care of this. Everyone else, don't go to the Western Nether Realm. They definitely have backup plans. Be careful, said Night Sorrow. Yu Wuyo wanted to say something, but after looking around he didn't say anything. Night Sorrow was the commander of the 9 regions world, so this should be an order. He had to carry it out. After that, Night Sorrow tore open a spatial rift and began cultivating. Seeing Night Sorrow cultivate, the others also went to make arrangements. There were still many things to do. After returning to the flying ship, Xuanhuan looked confused. She didn't understand what had happened today. That young man's elemental power is suppressing you, so all your skills are useless. But what's up with his elemental power? I don't understand, Xianxia said from inside the ship. He's still very inexperienced. I'll think about it when I get back. Xuanhuan still didn't understand. It wasn't that Xianxia and Xuanhuan were stupid. It was just that no one had ever thought of a supreme attribute. Since ancient times there had never been a supreme attribute. Wait for your senior apprentice brother to come. No matter how strong he is, it'll be useless. In front of the Tao of Slaughter, he's not enough, said Xianxia. Xuanhuan nodded. She knew her senior apprentice brother's situation. Her senior apprentice brother didn't have any great talent. He only had one strong point, and that was his combat power. He lived for slaughter, and he even had the power to withdraw from the Saint Realm. A fellow who was only a 4th rank saint a few months ago is now a peak 8th rank saint. I really don't understand. Xuanhuan still didn't understand. Every world has someone with great fortune. Or maybe he's the one with the fortune of the 9 regions world. If we can fight him, we'll win, said Xianxia. Wait for my senior apprentice brother to come, then we'll fight again. I don't believe that we can't kill him. Xuanhuan clenched her fists. It was clear that she wasn't calm at all. Night Sorrow continued to consolidate his cultivation in the spatial turbulence. He was comprehending the law of nothingness. He knew that the battle would come soon. The next battle would be even more difficult to deal with. Night Sorrow felt that only by condensing the God Orb could he have the power to control the 9 regions world. Chapter 835. Yishang cultivated very hard, and this moved the saints and high-level venerables of the 9 regions. Everyone knew that Yishang was going all out for the sake of the 9 regions. Yi Wuyo and Yu Qing were heartbroken. Staying in Long Xuanxing's tent, they were not in the mood to cultivate. Worry heartache. Not to mention you as his parents, even I feel heartache. This is his path, the path of defying the heavens. Isn't this also a tempering of his temperament, soul, and humanity? This time he has stood firm and he won't fall again in the future. Long Xianxing said. Yi Wuyo and Yu Qing looked at each other. They understood what Long Xianxing meant, and they also knew that this was Night Sorrow's path. Every time he was tired, Night Sorrow would enter the spatial pagoda to recover and drink a cup of tea made by Aoi. Seeing Night Sorrow enter the spatial pagoda again, Aoi pulled Night Sorrow to sit down. You have matured. Come, senior sister will help you clean up. Aoi pulled Night Sorrow to clean up, and then helped Night Sorrow to clean his beard. This was the first time Night Sorrow cleaned his beard. You can't work so hard, Shueshi said with heartache. Time is important, but I feel that I can make it. My chi can enter the 9th level of supremacy at any time, and my comprehension of the power of laws is also good. Night Sorrow said. Aoi and Shueshi did not let Night Sorrow continue cultivating. Instead, they let Night Sorrow take a bath and rest on Shueshi's big body. 8K first 3 shots asterisk after resting for half a day, Night Sorrow felt refreshed when he woke up. He was really tired during this period of time. On this day Night Sorrow did not go out. Instead, he sorted out his gains on the 60th floor of the spatial pagoda. He planned to break through to the 9th level of supremacy, and slowly cultivate the myriad Dao treasured tome. Night Sorrow had also finished nourishing the space splitter spear. However, his soul clone was still far from completion. After all, this was the second time he condensed it and the time was much shorter. Night Sorrow, with Sister Shueshi's help, I have completely comprehended the extreme attribute. Next, I can cultivate the extreme body. Always said with a smile. And you have to thank Sister Shueshi for this. Night Sorrow was also very happy when he heard that Aoi had succeeded in her cultivation. After that, Yishang exited the spacetime pagoda and went to Sikong Chuyu's tent. He took Shueshi and Qingji, who had used the breath-concealing technique, out. Then he called for Yang Lei and had Tianyu catch some beast. After a round of drinking, Yishan felt completely relaxed. Take it slow. There's no need to rush. Jun Xuanji is the top below the saint stage. Since you can defeat him, then there's no problem for you to fight below the saint stage. It's necessary to improve your cultivation, but there's no need to rush. Shueshi said. Night Sorrow nodded. And that's true. I don't believe that anyone below the saint stage can kill me. I'll break through to the 9th level of supremacy later. After hearing Shueshi's words, Night Sorrow knew that he was a little impatient and emotionally unstable. After resting for a day, Night Sorrow put Shueshi and Aoi into the 60th floor of the spatial pagoda. He entered the 70th floor of the spatial pagoda and began his closed-door cultivation. He wanted to break through to the next level. It's a good situation. His mood has stabilized. There's no problem. Shueshi said with a smile. He's been under a lot of pressure recently. It's really been hard on him. Aoi also felt very sorry for Night Sorrow. After 2 days, Yishang successfully raised his true energy cultivation to the level of a 9th level venerable. Night Sorrow reached the 60th floor of the spatial pagoda. Shueshi pulled Aoi and pushed Night Sorrow onto the big bed. The 3 of them cultivated together for a while. After Aoi took Night Sorrow's yang qi to cultivate, Shueshi helped Night Sorrow nourish his body and the energy and true qi of the myriad Tao tome. After cultivating, Shueshi looked at Night Sorrow with a strange gaze. She could feel the tyrannical strength of Night Sorrow's body. The strength of the energy in his body shocked her. She couldn't imagine how Night Sorrow cultivated to this level. Shueshi also understood that Night Sorrow's body wasn't at its limit. It was still improving, but the space for improvement was immeasurable. Night Sorrow, you've cultivated to the 9th level of supremacy. You can't take pills anymore. At this time, you need to stabilize your cultivation. The more stable it is, the better. Although there's a war, you still need to build a foundation for entering the Saint Realm. Shueshi said. In her world, Night Sorrow was the most important. As for the 9 regions world, she had to put it aside. I understand. The 9th level of supremacy is enough. I just need to stabilize it slowly. My main goal now is to improve my rule power and soul power. Night Sorrow said. Shueshi nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow's way of thinking was correct. Slowly increasing his cultivation was enough. Soul power and rule power were the key to entering the Saint Realm. After leaving the Spacetime Pagoda, Knight Sorrow met up with his parents. After drinking tea, he went to the border of the Realm's Sea with Wu Lingfei. Knight Sorrow, I can't help you with anything right now, but you can't rush it. The situation is very good. The Profound Mysteries Realm's commander has been defeated. This is a big blow to them. Unless they have a way to deal with you, they can only stay in the Western Nether region, said Wu Lingfei. So the Profound Mysteries Realm will definitely think of a way to deal with this. Since they've decided to attack our 9 regions world, they'll definitely have a lot of hidden cards. This time I was a bit anxious, said Knight Sorrow. You mean to say that we shouldn't defeat her? We should stabilize her first. Wu Lingfei understood what Knight Sorrow meant. Yes. That way we can buy a bit more time. However, in our 9 regions world, there won't be any more invincible venerables and peak venerables for the time being. The problem is that I still have some room for improvement, said Knight Sorrow. There's still time, said Wu Lingfei with a smile. She had seen Knight Sorrow's strength and knew that in a battle below the Saint Realm, Knight Sorrow would be safe. As long as he didn't fall into a trap, there wouldn't be any problems. Knight Sorrow nodded. Seeing Wu Lingfei smile, he felt much more at ease. After parting with Wu Lingfei, Knight Sorrow went to the God-slaying squad's camp and watched them cultivate. After looking around, Knight Sorrow returned to his tent. He knew that xuanhuan definitely had a backup plan. Only by withstanding this wave of backup could the war enter a period of stability. After calming himself down, Knight Sorrow entered the 70th floor of the Spacetime Pagoda. Then he began to comprehend law energy and cultivate his spiritual strength. At this time, in the Western Nether region's Eastern Cloud City's City Lord's mansion, 2 people were welcomed. One was the Profound Pavilion's Jia Shen, while the other was wearing blood-red robes. His hair was also blood-red and it covered his entire face. This person was the Profound Pavilion's most talented person, Ren Tianji. He originally had a chance to become a holy son, but in order to pursue the highest level of power, he had walked the Tao of slaughter. As a result, he had only comprehended the intent of slaughter. He hadn't comprehended law energy. It was his intent of slaughter that had prevented him from comprehending law energy. Even so, he still had the power to fight and retreat saints. Chapter 836. Junior Apprentice Sister, I'm here. Ren Tianji found a seat and sat down. Senior Apprentice Brother, you're here? Xuanhuan nodded to Ren Tianji. You must have run into some trouble. What do you need me to do? Once I'm done, I'll return to cultivate, said Ren Tianji. Ren Tianji saw Xianxia and Xiangluo, but he ignored them. He only greeted Xuanhuan. I lost. If I wasn't a saint, I wouldn't have had a chance of defeating him. Furthermore, my Profound Mysteries Realm has signed a saint contract with the 9 regions world. Saints are not allowed to fight, so I can only trouble Senior Apprentice Brother to fight, said Xuanhuan. You can fight however you want. I don't have much time. I owe Junior Apprentice Sister a favor, so I'll fight for her. Of course you should know that when I fight it's either killing or being killed. It's a matter of life and death, said Ren Tianji. Xuanhuan nodded. She knew that this was Ren Tianji who had never been defeated since his debut. What he cultivated was the way of slaughter. Originally, Xuanhuan had asked Ren Tianji to come over as a backup plan to kill Yi Wuyo. Later, she felt that she could defeat Yi Wuyo after cultivating the 4 extreme combined attack, and Ren Tianji wouldn't have to do anything. However, an even more terrifying Yi Sorrow had appeared in the 9-domain world. She couldn't even defeat him, let alone kill him. Then Senior Apprentice Brother should rest. I'll invite Senior Apprentice Brother over, said Xuanhuan. Then someone brought Ren Tianji to rest. How could a genius of his generation end up like this? Sighed Xiangluo. This is his tribulation. If he can endure it, his future will be limitless. It's just that he chose the wrong path. He originally had a chance to walk the right path, sighed Xuanhuan. Grand Elder, what do you mean? Does my Senior Apprentice Brother still have a chance? Asked Xuanhuan. Because he has grasped the will of slaughter, the will of slaughter repels his comprehension of the power of law. If he first grasps the power of law and then cultivates the will of slaughter, there won't be such a drawback. If he can perfectly grasp the will of slaughter, then there will be an opportunity, Xianhuan said. Xianhuan's heart ached for Ren Tianji. He had repeatedly tried to persuade Ren Tianji to give up on cultivating the slaughter intent. In the end, they had a huge argument, and Ren Tianji had even given up on all the benefits he would receive in the Profound Pavilion. That was why Ren Tianji had entered the City Lord's mansion and ignored Xianhuan. Let's look forward to that day. Senior Brother is the true genius, Xuanhuan said. Xuanhuan sighed. He couldn't tell what he was feeling. She had instigated Ren Tianji to cultivate the slaughter will. Competition was because of competition. Without Ren Tianji's competition, she could smoothly rise to the top. This was scheming and scheming. Now that she had great power in her hands, she hoped that Ren Tianji could live a better life. 2 days later, Xuanhuan, Xianwenxiu, and Shangluo brought Ren Tianji and some unrivaled venerables of the profound mysteries realm to the sky above the domain sea of the three origin domain. Seeing the other party invade, the Grand Elder crushed Night Sorrow's messaging crystal. New chapter UJ section UJ Woi Net Night Sorrow, who was stabilizing his cultivation base and cultivating the power of law, woke up from his meditative state. He came out of the space-time pagoda and appeared in front of the tent in a flash. Night Sorrow, be careful. They already know how strong you are in the last battle. This time they came to challenge you. That means they're prepared, Wu Lingfei reminded Night Sorrow. I know. What will come will come. I've never underestimated them, Night Sorrow said. Why don't you let Father test the waters first? Yuyo said. No, I have the ability to protect myself. It won't be easy for anyone to kill me. Father, Mother, don't worry, Night Sorrow said and went to the edge of the domain sea. The Profound Mysteries Realm's airship stopped above the domain sea and didn't enter the three origin domain. There were saints on the airship. The three origin domain hadn't been conquered by the Profound Mysteries Realm yet. If the airship came over, the world's origin laws would determine that it was an invasion by saints. After the airship opened, 2 figures appeared. One was Xuanhuan, who was wearing a moon-white dress. The other was Ren Tianji, who was wearing a blood-red robe and had blood-red hair that covered his face. Ren Tianji carried a 2-meter-long saber on his back. Even the hilt was blood-red. What? You're not willing to accept your loss last time and brought reinforcements this time. How do you plan to fight? Night Sorrow asked as he waved his reincarnation spear. I don't think we'll lose. At most, we'll be evenly matched. This is my senior apprentice brother, the evil monarch of slaughter, Ren Tianji. You'll be the first person to die to his saber, Xuanhuan said to Night Sorrow. Last time I already said that I hate your stinky mouth. Don't tell me you didn't remember? Yishuang coldly replied. He was disgusted by Xuanhuan's words, which didn't have any persuasive power. Is it him? Ren Tianji looked at Xuanhuan. Yes, it's him, Xuanhuan said through gritted teeth. She wanted nothing more than for Night Sorrow to immediately die. Xuanhuan had pursued the path of power. For power she had done very well. She was already a quasi-saint. For power, she had become the holy maiden of the Profound Pavilion. In the Profound Pavilion, her words were orders. In the Profound Pavilion, a single word from her could decide a person's life or death. However, after entering the 9 regions world, she had been defeated by Night Sorrow. She had cursed him twice but had been unable to say anything. That made her furious. She wanted nothing more than to see Night Sorrow immediately die. I, Ren Tianji, don't want to say anything. I owe my junior apprentice sister a favor, so I'm helping her. Today we'll fight to the death, said Ren Tianji. All right, then let's leave life or death to fate. Night Sorrow took off the ice silk pouch at his waist and tossed it into the space-time pagoda. Wait, are you going to fight one-on-one or do you want to play World War I? Shouted the ruler of the Yin dynasty, Yin Tianlong. He didn't want Night Sorrow to be ambushed by Xuanhuan and Ren Tianji. When I, Ren Tianji, fight apart from myself, everyone else is my enemy. Even if the people around me participate in the battle, I will still disregard them. Junior sister, please don't interfere, Ren Tianji said to Xuanhuan. Xuanhuan nodded. Her body flickered, and she floated to the center of the spatial ship. Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear in the air above the realm's sea. Yishang, he's very special. He doesn't have the power of law on him, but he's surrounded by killing intent. He's walking the unorthodox path. You have to be careful. Xueshi, who had discovered the situation through Yishang's soul power, also warned Yishang. At this time Yishang also knew that Ren Tianji was not ordinary. Xueshi's words were also very clear. Ren Tianji cultivated an unorthodox sect, a strange sect. Such people were the most difficult to deal with because they did not understand them. I, the slaughter evil monarch Ren Tianji, don't kill nameless people. Leave your name, said Ren Tianji as he took out the blood-red saber on his back and looked at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, titled Immortal, replied Night Sorrow after releasing the myriad Dao Tome's energy to protect himself. Chapter 837. Titled Immortal, this is interesting, Ren Tianji muttered. He waved the blood-red saber in his hand and charged toward Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow dashed forward and performed the 7-star brilliant moon spear technique with his reincarnation spear, thrusting it toward Ren Tianji's saber. Ding! With a crisp sound, Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear and Ren Tianji's blood-red saber collided. The two of them were separated by a distance. Night Sorrow retreated more than 12 meters, while Ren Tianji retreated slightly further. Night Sorrow's cultivation base was not as profound as Ren Tianji's, but his body was strong enough. At this time, the energy of the myriad Dao Tome was also circulating in his body. With the support of the energy of the myriad Dao Tome, Night Sorrow's strength was stronger, so Ren Tianji was at a disadvantage. Ren Tianji, who was repelled by Night Sorrow's spear, charged forward again. He waved his saber and slashed at Night Sorrow. The blood-red saber aura was very terrifying. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear danced and displayed his spear technique. He fought head-on with Ren Tianji. Night Sorrow was not afraid of anyone in a head-on battle, even if Ren Tianji's cultivation base was at the peak of the Venerable Realm. The two of them fought in the sky above the realm's sea, causing energy fluctuations to surge in all directions. After a while, because he could not defeat Night Sorrow, Ren Tianji's eyes turned blood-red. The blood-red energy on his body surged, and his killing aura rippled in all directions. The first one to be suppressed was Night Sorrow. Seeing that Ren Tianji had performed a special ability, Night Sorrow propped up a protective air shield. The power of the law of nothingness rippled in all directions, blocking the suppression of Ren Tianji's killing intent. Then he brandished his reincarnation spear and fought head-on with Ren Tianji. At this time, Ren Tianji seemed to have lost his mind. He attacked violently with his saber, one strike after another, like a storm. Ren Tianji's attacks were violent, but Night Sorrow's attacks were even more violent. He still suppressed Ren Tianji and forced him to retreat. After being repelled by Night Sorrow, Ren Tianji spun around and attacked. The two of them fought above the realm's sea. Seeing that Ren Tianji's unorthodox blood energy could not suppress him, Night Sorrow executed the law of nothingness to suppress Ren Tianji. With the release of Night Sorrow's law of nothingness, the blood-colored aura released by Ren Tianji's body was directly suppressed to the side, forming a protective barrier. At this moment, Night Sorrow unleashed his speed. His reincarnation spear continuously bombarded Ren Tianji's body. "Break!" Ren Tianji roared. His blood chi shook violently and spread out to a range of 2 feet. Then he brandished his blade and slashed towards Night Sorrow again. JQAJV, the other IR /CX Pirate S Edition V. While fighting head-on with Ren Tianji, Night Sorrow thought about the battle situation. He knew that Ren Tianji's cultivation was unorthodox and his attainments were very deep. Even the law of nothingness was blocked by his protective barrier. It would be very difficult to kill him. However, Night Sorrow was not afraid. Ren Tianji's cultivation was profound, but his true chi and myriad Dao scripture were supporting his attacks. His ability to resist consumption was stronger than Ren Tianji's. He also had the advantage in a battle of attrition. The two of them fought from the sea to the sky and from the sky to the sea. Their figures were everywhere within a radius of several miles. Ren Tianji's state was very wild. After fighting for half a day, the intensity and frequency of his attacks did not seem to decrease. Most of the time, they fought in a way that would cause both sides to suffer. Night Sorrow realized that Ren Tianji had already lost his mind. The only thing he knew was to fight and to kill his opponent. The two of them crazily fought for half an hour. Night Sorrow discovered a problem. Ren Tianji did not consume much energy at all. The blood-colored slaughter chi he released would be absorbed by his body after he used it to attack. Just wait for your death. Using the slaughter intent to activate your blade, your energy is endless. If you don't kill your opponent, you won't stop, said Xuanhuan. So what? Night Sorrow coldly snorted. He knew that Xuanhuan was trying to influence him. After fighting 2 more times, Night Sorrow clenched his teeth and made a decision. When they fought again, Night Sorrow stabbed his spear towards Ren Tianji's chest. Ren Tianji still did not care about his own defense as he slashed his blade towards Night Sorrow's waist. Right now he wanted to kill Night Sorrow. He did not care about his own safety. Night Sorrow did not block and continued to stab forward with his reincarnation spear. Squeak. Yishang's reincarnation spear broke through Ren Tianji's protective chi shield and pierced through Ren Tianji's shoulder as he dodged to the side to avoid being hit in a vital spot. At this time, Ren Tianji's blade also broke through Night Sorrow's protective barrier. When no one dared to look directly, Ren Tianji's blade slashed towards Night Sorrow's waist. At the crucial moment, the image of time flowing appeared on Night Sorrow's waist. After blocking Ren Tianji's blood-colored blade, The blade cut through his robe and reached his body. However, what shocked everyone was that the blood-colored blade just stuck to Night Sorrow's waist and did not cut through. After being offset by Night Sorrow's protective barrier and blocked by the power of Desolates, Rintianji's blade was unable to break through Night Sorrow's body defense. At this time, Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear fiercely pierced through Rintianji's shoulder blade and collarbone. After sending Rintianji flying, Night Sorrow continued to chase after Rintianji with his spear. At this time, Night Sorrow was also using an internecine strategy. When others used an internecine strategy, they were risking their lives. However, Night Sorrow was different. He had a strong body defense and was not worried about the possibility of being injured. It was a completely different strategy. In addition, this strategy was not used by Night Sorrow first. After Rintianji made his move, he had been using an internecine strategy. As Night Sorrow's internecine strategy unfolded, Rintianji could not hold on any longer. Although his combat awareness allowed him to avoid his vital points, Night Sorrow still pierced many holes in his body. If it was an ordinary cultivator, their battle prowess would be affected, and their fighting spirit and state would also decline. However, Rintianji still maintained his peak state and attacked. Night Sorrow was also having a headache because he had continuously resisted Rintianji's attacks and consumed a lot of energy. The situation was obvious. If the battle continued, Rintianji would continue to be injured, but his combat power would not decrease. However, Night Sorrow would not be able to hold on any longer. The advantage of Rintianji's killing intent was the continuous fighting spirit and the constant energy consumption. Night Sorrow did not intend to continue fighting like this. No matter what happened to Rintianji after he was severely injured, it was a fact that he still maintained his peak combat power. If this continued, Night Sorrow would be the unlucky one. With this idea in mind, Night Sorrow used the space splitter and slashed in front of Rintianji. Rintianji's body flashed and dodged the space splitter. However, the space splitter formed beside him. At this time, Night Sorrow used the realm of the union of heaven and man to prevent the space splitter from closing. Then he flashed to Rintianji's side and violently attacked with his spear. Rintianji habitually waved his blood-colored saber at Night Sorrow. After 3 moves, Night Sorrow bombarded Rintianji to the space splitter's entrance. This was the opportunity that Night Sorrow needed. When they collided again, Night Sorrow used his shoulder to block Rintianji's attack. At the same time, he stabbed Rintianji's chest and sent him into the space splitter. Then he ignored the broken defense on his shoulder and the wound on his shoulder. He waved his left hand at the space splitter. Chapter 838. After the spatial tear finished closing, Rintianji disappeared, swallowed up by the spatial tear. This was the method that Night Sorrow thought of to restrain Rintianji's battle hunger, which gave him an endless supply of energy. Night Sorrow's body flickered a few times, and he returned to the edge of the realm's sea. He drank some life spirit elixir and origin spirit elixir. He had to recover quickly because it was hard to say what would happen next. Night Sorrow knew that xuanhuan was a despicable person. When he was injured and in a bad state, he would most likely attack. She had the ultimate skill of the 4 ultimate combined attack. Wuyo could resist, but it would be very difficult and there would be many variables. How is it? Yuqin came to Night Sorrow's side and looked at the bloodstains on Night Sorrow's robes. Yishan shook his head and took off his tattered robes. He used his tattered robes to wipe off the blood around his wound that had already healed and quickly changed into a new set of battle robes. It's fine. If they still want to fight, I'll continue. At this moment, the space above the realm sea was still trembling. This was the struggle of Rintianji, who had been banished into the spatial turbulence by Yishan. It was impossible for him to escape from the spatial turbulence without a supreme technique that could break through space. Just as everyone was thinking about what would happen next, an old man charged out of the Profound Mysteries Realm's warship. His right hand slashed at the area where the space was shaking. After several attacks, a spatial crack appeared. The old man extended his right hand, and a large hand of energy reached into the spatial crack and pulled out the bloodied Rintianji. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. The one who had attacked was xianxia. This time Night Sorrow was unwilling. He immediately chased after xianxia. He didn't believe that this saint would dare to attack him. Shameless, roared Wuyo. He also charged into the sky above the realm sea because xuanhuan was blocking his path. This was the rhythm of a group battle. Retreat, roared xianxia as he pulled Rintianji away. Hearing xianxia's roar, xuanhuan's body flickered and entered the spaceship. Then the spaceship left. This situation made Night Sorrow feel very helpless. He could only fire a few shots at the flying ship, but the ship's defense was very strong. Night Sorrow's 2 shots were useless and the fast-flying ship flew away. Night Sorrow and Yi Wuyo returned to the edge of the realm sea as they watched the warship fly away. At present, besides saints, only the 2 of them could fight in the air above the realm sea. Even half-saints would be affected. It's my mistake. I should have intercepted him. It's just that I didn't think that he would make a move in such a hurry. Since he made a move after you returned, it can't be considered as interfering in the war. It can be considered as saving someone. Long Xianxia said. It's nothing. If I can teach him a lesson once, I can teach him a lesson again, Night Sorrow said. Although he said so, Night Sorrow was still very annoyed in his heart. Because Ren Chenji was a great enemy. Except for him, no one under Saint Realm could contend against him. Well said. Well done. Let's see what other means they have. They won't be able to fight fair and square, Heavenly Underworld Saint said. Senior Heavenly Underworld Saint, the fall of the Western Nether region is a disgrace to the people of the 9 regions. Give me some time. I will stabilize and kill my way over. Night Sorrow looked at Heavenly Underworld Saint and said, Don't worry. The situation is very good now. The people of the Western Nether region are doing well in the 3 Yuan domain. Let's do it steadily. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Heavenly Underworld Saint hastily waved his hand. He didn't want his words to disturb Night Sorrow's train of thought. Last time, it was because of his impatience that Western Nether region fell into enemy hands. He didn't want such a thing to happen again. Long Xianxia and Xialanjun also told Night Sorrow not to worry. Since the situation had stabilized, they just had to fight steadily and surely. Night Sorrow called for Chanyu to go catch a wild beast while he returned to his tent with the others. At this time, the 9 regions world's camp was filled with a jubilant atmosphere. Night Sorrow had forced back the experts of the Profound Mysteries realm twice, setting the tone for the upcoming battle. The people of the 9 regions also knew that Night Sorrow was currently the strongest person under Saint Realm. Night Sorrow's cultivation base wasn't the best under Saint Realm. It could even be said that there were many people with higher cultivation bases than Night Sorrow. But in terms of actual combat power, no one could compare to him. Even Night Sorrow's father, Quasi-Saint Yi Wuyo, was no match for him. Yi Wuyo and Jun Xuanji were evenly matched, but Night Sorrow was able to suppress and force Jun Xuanji back. Night Sorrow, the 9 regions saints, and the representatives of the 9 regions sovereigns drank together before returning to his tent. Good job. Yang Lei, who had just returned from celebrating with the god-slaying squad, hugged Night Sorrow and patted Night Sorrow's back. Following that, Night Sorrow also hugged Sikong Chuyu. Our efforts during this time didn't go to waste. Now that we've suppressed them, this battle will be easier to fight. Your efforts have paid off. Today you've shown your might, Sikong Chuyu said as he brewed tea. Watch Little Q Says Q, for free. At this time Yi Wuyo and Yu Qing also came to Night Sorrow's tent. Night Sorrow, what do you plan to do next? Yi Wuyo asked after sitting down. Right now we're looking for stability. I want to raise my cultivation base again because I still have a lot of room for improvement, said Night Sorrow. That's a good idea. You've just become a 9th rank sovereign, and you're still far from the peak of the 9th rank. That means you still have room for improvement. Your spiritual strength and innate bloodline power can both be improved. How about this? I'll go scout the path and see where their spatial channel is. At that time, you won't be in a passive position no matter how you fight, said Yi Wuyo. Father, I'll go scout it later. Night Sorrow shook his head. What he cared about the most was the safety of his family and the people around him. He didn't want his father to take the risk. I understand what you're worried about. After cultivating with Senior Long Xianxia, I've gained some insights into breaking spatial seals. This time, I'm only going to investigate the location of the spatial passageway. I won't fight with them so you don't have to worry. Yi Wuyo smiled. Night Sorrow hesitated. He didn't know if he should agree or not. Son, don't worry. I'm a quasi-sage. It's good enough that I don't kill others. If others want to kill me, they won't be able to do it, said Yu Qing with a smile. That's true. I'm just worried. Then will father go alone or bring others? Asked Night Sorrow with a smile. After hearing Yu Qing's words, he knew that he was overly nervous. After all, Yi Wuyo was a quasi-sage with the spatial attribute. He could use spatial cracks and teleport at any time. Then we'll continue to bring Monarch Yun and Venerable Wu Hen. The 3 of us work well together, said Yi Wuyo. Night Sorrow then called Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling over. He emphasized that the 3 of them were only going to scout the spatial channel, not fight. Safety was the most important thing. Chapter 839. After that, Yi Wuyo and the other 2 set off to find out more information. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless fantasy translation. Night Sorrow wasn't too worried. After thinking about it, he felt that it was fine. After all, Yi Wuyo was a spatial quasi-sage. Night Sorrow relaxed for 2 days before entering the 70th floor of the Spacetime Pagoda to continue cultivating his soul power and comprehending laws. His true Qi and myriad Dao tone naturally improved. In the West Nether region's East Cloud City, something was wrong. Xuanhuan's face was gloomy. Xian Wenxiu and Shang Luo, who were sitting beside him, didn't say anything. The other higher-ups also had ugly expressions. Grand Elder Xian, what's going on with that guy? Why can't even my senior brother's slaughter intent restrain him? Xuanhuan asked Xian Wenxiu after calming down. He cultivates a body-refining technique. His body is extremely powerful. His cultivation is a bit low, but his combat power can't be measured by cultivation. Also, his law power is very strong. It's very similar to the legendary sovereign attribute, sighed Xian Wenxiu. If we don't defeat him, we won't be able to start this war, said Xuanhuan. No one said anything. That was the truth. Because of the Saint contract, the strongest experts below the Saint realm were in the 9 regions world. This made it impossible for the Profound Mysteries realm to attack. The information wasn't accurate. We fell into a passive position from the very beginning. Originally, we said that without a peak saint we would be able to crush them. But in the end, 2 peak saints appeared, and then the sovereigns made a mistake, said Xuanhuan. At this time, no one said anything because these things could not be predicted. Holy Maiden, let's not talk about the past. This is the variable of war. Now let's see how we can win this war, said Xian Wenxiu. Grand Elder Xian, if we want to win this war, Night Sorrow is a roadblock. If we don't kill him, we won't be able to change the situation. We can go around him, but if he attacks our troops, we won't be able to stop him. We won't be able to control the situation, said Xuanhuan. We can't give up the war just because of one person. We still have to think of a way, said Yi Xiantian. This time, the mysterious Heaven Sword sect had lost half its strength. He wasn't willing to just give up like this. If my senior brother paid more attention and didn't send him into the chaotic flow, would we win? Xuanhuan asked Xian Wenxiu. Xian Wenxiu thought for a moment and said, sure, but your senior brother is seriously injured this time. He won't be able to recover without a period of time. As long as there is a chance, we can wait. For now, we will continue to manage the Western Nether territory and build a defensive line. Grand Elder Xian, treat my senior brother's injuries. I will also work hard to cultivate and see if I can make any progress. Xuanhuan thought for a moment and made a decision. Yishang was steadily cultivating. He was no longer in a hurry. A few days ago, he knew that Xuanhuan definitely had a backup plan. However, he didn't know what it was, which made him very worried. After defeating Ren Tianji this time, Yishang understood that Xuanhuan's backup plan was Ren Tianji. If X translation's trump card was placed on the table, there was no need to be afraid of it. After a month of steady cultivation, Yishang finally came out of seclusion. Although Yishang's cultivation base did not improve much during this 1 month, it had become very stable and solid. Additionally, his comprehension of the power of laws had also gradually deepened. Night Sorrow went to see Yu Qing in Long Xianxing. The heavenly underworld sage was also in Long Xuanxing's tent. Night Sorrow, who is the person that my ancestor, the dark spirit saint, fused with? Asked the heavenly underworld sage anxiously. Night Sorrow said, his soul fused with someone else, so it's not him. Senior, why are you so persistent? I understand what you mean, but I still hope that this person can achieve something. He is another form of my ancestor in this world. Don't worry, I don't mean any harm, Tianming Saint said. If it's convenient, there's no harm in telling you, said Long Xianxing. Alright, senior heavenly underworld sage. Let's make it clear first. You can't have any plans to steal him, said Night Sorrow. Alright. I promise you. Seeing that Night Sorrow was willing to tell him, the heavenly underworld sage quickly nodded. He's my 12th senior apprentice brother. It's a long story. Night Sorrow told him about how the dark spirit saint had helped Guan Yi to be reborn. So it's like that. Actually, I've guessed 2 people. One is Guan Yi and the other is Qin Zhen. It really is Guan Yi, said the heavenly underworld sage as he sat down. Senior, what do you plan to do now that you know? Asked Night Sorrow. The heavenly underworld sage expressed his intentions. He wouldn't ask Guan Yi for anything. He would only guide Guan Yi's cultivation and let him grow. That made Night Sorrow relax. He had been worried that the heavenly underworld sage would ask Guan Yi to join the Western Nether region. If that happened, he wouldn't be able to explain it to Yu Yangyu. After that, Knight Sorrow brought the heavenly underworld sage to see Guanyi. He told Guanyi about the relationship between the dark spirit saint and the heavenly underworld sage. The relationship between the heavenly underworld sage and Guanyi was very strange. Guanyi was clearly a junior, but the heavenly underworld sage was very polite to him. That was because Guanyi had fused with his ancestor's soul. Senior heavenly underworld sage, my brother's talent isn't bad. You can give him some pointers. Knight Sorrow also wanted to give Qingjin some benefits. Haha, that kid's not bad. It doesn't matter if he has a master or not. If he becomes my disciple, I'll teach him everything, said the heavenly underworld sage. Knight Sorrow was stunned. He didn't expect the heavenly underworld sage to express such an attitude directly. In fact, the heavenly underworld sage had thought highly of Guanyi and Qingjin. However, he didn't express it because he was worried that there was an ancestor between them. Now that it was confirmed that Guanyi was related to the dark spirit saint, it was no problem for him to accept Qingjin as his disciple. Knight Sorrow went to Qingjin and told him about it. Qingjin was naturally willing, but the sect couldn't change. Knight Sorrow brought Qingjin to see the heavenly underworld sage. Qingjin expressed his willingness to become the heavenly underworld sage's disciple and insisted that he couldn't betray the Medicine Valley. That's not a problem. You're from the Medicine Valley. That won't change. However, you have to pass down the inheritance of the Dark Island, said the heavenly underworld sage. Qingjin nodded. He could accept this situation. Knight Sorrow didn't care about what happened next. He went straight into the spacetime pagoda and started cultivating. Once Yi Wuyo and the other two brought back news, he would take action. He planned to bring some elites to the hinterland of the Profound Mysteries realm and start a war. At that time, the Profound Mysteries realm would be the one suffering, and the Nine Regions world would have the upper hand. Yi Shang was using the blood spirit turtle crystal to cultivate the myriad Tao scripture, so his true qi was naturally condensed. His main improvement was his control of the power of rules and the improvement of his soul power. As he cultivated, Yi Shang's control of the power of rules became deeper and deeper, and his soul power became more and more condensed. Chapter 840. After cultivating for 20 days, which was 10 days in the outside world, Knight Sorrow finally came out of seclusion. He wanted to know if Yi Wuyo and the others had returned and if there was any news about them. When Knight Sorrow came out of seclusion, Yi Wuyo and the others still hadn't returned. However, Knight Sorrow wasn't worried. Yi Wuyo and the others all had vital crystals in the hands of their relatives. As long as the vital crystals were fine, they were safe. Over the next few days, Yi Shan relaxed his mind and calmed his emotions. On this day, Knight Sorrow came back from the God-slaying squad's camp and found Wu Lingfei in his tent. "Auntie Fei, you've been in seclusion this whole time. I haven't seen you in a while," said Knight Sorrow with a smile. "You've been working hard, so I naturally have to work hard as well. Otherwise you'll quickly catch up to me," said Wu Lingfei. "Auntie Fei, you must be joking." "I'm still far from that," said Knight Sorrow as he prepared to brew some tea. However, Wu Lingfei stopped Knight Sorrow and personally brewed a pot of tea. The tea that Wu Lingfei brewed was Tao Comprehension Tea, a king-grade tea. It was a type of spirit medicine that could calm one's heart, cleanse one's soul, and increase one's ability to comprehend. This was the gift that Wu Lingfei had received from Hu Shao when she had helped Grand Desolation City repel the beast tide. "This tea really is different. Drinking it refreshes my mind. Even my divine sea becomes much clearer," said Knight Sorrow as he drank a cup of Tao Comprehension tea. Wu Lingfei smiled and gave Knight Sorrow half of the Tao Comprehension tea. "You've been bitterly cultivating. Although you've been able to persevere, your mind is still very tired. If you have nothing to do, drink a cup to relieve yourself." Holding the tea, Knight Sorrow hesitated for a moment but didn't refuse. "The situation is good right now, so don't be impatient. They're the ones with a headache. They can't advance or retreat. If they can't take you down, they're worried that you'll cause trouble. If you retreat, they won't be able to explain themselves. Many of their people have died in battle," said Wu Lingfei. Knight Sorrow nodded. He knew that Jun Xuanji was in a difficult position. His attack had been thwarted, but he was unwilling to retreat. Knight Sorrow was now waiting for the information. As long as Yi Wuyo and the others could obtain the location of the spatial passageway, Knight Sorrow would set the Profound Mysteries realm on fire. After chatting with Knight Sorrow for a while, Wu Lingfei left and continued to cultivate. With Dongshuan's origin energy, Wu Lingfei's cultivation base had risen rapidly. She was now a 3-star saint. Liang Yu, who had Nanli region's origin energy, was the same. His cultivation base had risen rapidly. His cultivation base had originally been lower than Yunhuang and Linglong's, but now he had caught up to them and was even showing signs of surpassing them. After sending Wu Lingfei off, while Night Sorrow was drinking tea, Yang Lei and Xikong Chuyu had finished cultivating and returned. The two of them had also been consolidating their cultivation base during this period. Night Sorrow, I'll be going into seclusion for the next few days. I want to break through to the Saint Realm. My cultivation base can no longer be condensed or improved. The opportunity to advance has arrived. Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and said, Cool eye 4G only, DK, every he is a thief. Xikong Chuyu also expressed the same meaning. They had indeed been consolidating their cultivation base for a while. Besides that, they had been stimulated by Yunhuang, Linglong, and Liangyu. The three of them were charging towards the third-level Saint Realm. If Yang Lei and Xikong Chuyu did not break through, the gap between them would only grow larger. Break through when you feel that the opportunity has arrived. There's no need to deliberately suppress it, Night Sorrow nodded. In the next few days, Yang Lei and Xikong Chuyu went into seclusion one after another. It took them 4 days to break through to the Saint Realm. Night Sorrow was very happy with such a situation. He brought Xuexi and Aoi out of the time and space pagoda to celebrate with everyone. Aoi was not in a hurry now. She was not far away from the 7th level Void Inquiry stage and was currently cultivating her ultimate body. She was already very satisfied with the results of her recent cultivation. While the few of them were drinking, Xialanjun and Lin Yuandao arrived. Xikong Chuyu and Yang Lei were both members of the Tianji Tower. Since the two of them had broken through to the Saint Realm, they also wanted to congratulate them. When Xialanjun saw Xuexi, she was stunned for a moment. Night Sorrow introduced Xuexi to her, telling her that she was a friend of his when he was adventuring in the past. Xialanjun felt a little strange. She even felt that Xuexi and Yinxi were related. However, their hair color, qi and temperament were somewhat different. Thus, she did not think too much about it. In her impression, Night Sorrow and Yinxi were like fire and water. When they met, they would meet with swords and spears. They could not be friends. Logically speaking, Xialanjuan's analysis was correct. However, due to a strange combination of factors, it led to today's situation. After celebrating with Xikong Chuyu and Yang Lei, Night Sorrow cultivated the Haotian scripture while waiting for news from Yi Wuyo and the other two. He wanted to transfer the true qi that he originally cultivated according to the sacred cauldron scripture to the cultivation path of the Haotian scripture. This was a very complicated process. There was a huge difference between each cultivation method. It was very troublesome to change it. The true qi circulation method and the meridians were all different. After half a month, Night Sorrow completed the cultivation of the Haotian scripture. After Night Sorrow solved the problem of his true qi cultivation, he began to cultivate in actual combat. Yu Qing had improved a lot after becoming Long Xuanxing's disciple. Now she had mastered the wind attribute. In the earth-space imprisonment technique that she cultivated, she added the wind element. In other words, the attack of the wind blade was strengthened. As the days passed, there was no movement from the profound mysteries realm. They did not launch another attack and there was no news. When Night Sorrow planned to enter the space-time pagoda to cultivate, Yi Wuyo, Yin Tianlong, and Shui Wuling returned. The three of them found the location of the spatial passage. However, because the profound mysteries realm was heavily guarded, the three of them did not approach it. Very good. Since we know the location, we have to make a plan. It's time to counterattack. Night Sorrow was very happy to know the location of the spatial passage. Son, there are many people guarding it. It won't be easy to enter the profound mysteries realm, Yi Wuyo said. Father, go and gather the troops. In a few days, I will take 1/3 of the invincible venerables with me. As for the peak venerables, forget about it. Night Sorrow said. Yi Wuyo and Tai Shu were the deputy commanders of the 9 regions world war. They could mobilize the troops. Night Sorrow did not dare to take too many people. First of all, it was risky to go to the profound mysteries realm. The other 3 regions had to be stabilized. If everyone left, there would be problems. Okay, I will prepare the troops later. Yi Wuyo nodded. Night Sorrow found Tai Shu and asked him and Lu Qin to prepare the resources. They had to go to war without resources. Afterward, Night Sorrow found Hua Haining and asked for poison and antidote pills. He wanted to go to the profound mysteries realm. He wanted to play big. While Night Sorrow was preparing, an old man arrived at the Eastern Cloud City Lord Manor. He was a high-level saint of the profound mysteries realm. He was guarding the spatial passage and found traces of Yi Wuyo and the others. Hearing the old man's words, Jun Xuanji laughed. Night Sorrow, you're not the only one who knows how to play tricks. Last time you set up an ambush and suffered heavy losses. This time you won't be able to return. They want to open up the situation and start a war with the profound mysteries realm, Xianluo said. Chapter 841. At that moment, clouds suddenly appeared in the sky. Red streaks appeared in the clouds, directly enveloping the high-grade saint who had come to report information about Yi Wuyo and the others. What's this? The high-grade saint cried out. He was being attacked now, both his body and soul being attacked. Quickly return to the profound mysteries realm and see if you can withstand it. This is an attack from the world source, Xianxia called out. Hearing Xianxia's call, the high-grade saint's body flashed, and he rushed out of the city lord's manor. Everything was futile. The high-grade saint had just rushed out of the city lord's manor when he could no longer move. This was because the red streaks were attacking him from all directions. In just a short moment, this high-grade saint was killed by the power of the red streaks. Xianxia sighed, and Xiangluo also shook his head helplessly. They had interfered with the war and broken the saint's contract, so the Nine Regions World Source had created a destructive power that directly killed them. The Nine Regions World's laws are incomplete, and their ability to resist other worlds is weak. However, their offensive power is still top-notch. In the future, saints should not participate in wars anymore, Xianxia said. Seeing a high-grade saint being killed by the Nine Regions World's laws with his own eyes, Xianxia was somewhat moved. He definitely could not ignore or break the saint's contract. The open cloud saint sacrificed himself for the war between worlds. This is something that no one wants to see, so we have to make the open cloud saint's death worthwhile. Invite Grandmaster Gu over, Jun Xuanji ordered. Grandmaster Gu was the most powerful formation grandmaster in the profound mysteries realm. Now Jun Xuanji was going to use the same method as Night Sorrow, an ambush. They had to ambush him. A short moment later, an elder in linen robes came to the city lord's manor. He was the profound mysteries realm's formation grandmaster, Gu Tianyu. Grandmaster Gu, the Nine Regions world has found the location of the spatial tunnel between the Nine Regions world and the profound mysteries realm. They plan to pull the battle line to the profound mysteries realm, so I want to ask Grandmaster to set up a formation at the spatial tunnel and kill all of their elites, Jun Xuanji said to Gu Tianyu. Hearing Jun Xuanji's words, Gu Tianyu's dull eyes lit up. Saintess, don't worry. I'll set up a destruction formation and seal the spatial tunnel entrance. Grandmaster Gu, their people know how to cut space. So, when you set up the array formation, put more effort into sealing space, Jun Xuanji said to Gu Tianyu. Then add a spatial imprisonment formation, Gu Tianyu said. Night Sorrow was cultivating at the edge of the realm's sea. Yi Wuyo had already arranged for the invincible paragons to fight, Yun Tianlong, Shui Wuling, Bei Tiange, and Night God Quang. Night Sorrow, I've called over 4 unrivaled sovereigns for the people you want to fight. Including me, they're about half as strong as the unrivaled sovereigns, said Yi Wuyo. Father, you can't go. After I leave, we still need someone to guard this place. At the very least, they can block Jun Xuanji. Also, we don't need so many people. Just 2 seniors will be enough. We'll go kill and burn. Saints can't participate, so who can stop us? Most of their forces are in the Nine Regions world, said Night Sorrow. That's fine. Then Prince Wu, you can stay behind. This king and brother Shui can come with you, said Yun Tianlong. Then it's decided. Seniors, come with me. I'll bring the god-slaying squad to have some fun in the profound mysteries realm. However, it won't be easy to pass through the spatial tunnel. They'll definitely have an ambush. When the time comes, Overlord Yun and Senior Shui will have to suffer and enter my spatial treasure. Night Sorrow looked at Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling. He was giving them a warning. If they weren't willing to enter the space-time pagoda, it would be troublesome. If you have something to say, just say it directly. This king will listen to orders. There's no need to beat around the bush, said Yun Tianlong. Haha, I'll also listen to orders. As long as it's an order from you, the commander of the Nine Regions world, I'll definitely carry it out, laughed Shui Wuling. Then it's decided. Now the biggest problem is passing through the spatial tunnel. If I'm not wrong, there's a huge hole waiting for us there, said Night Sorrow after pouring tea for everyone. Are you sure? Asked the Grand Elder. Because of the saint contract, their saints can't fight, but they can still stand guard. If I'm not wrong, when my father, King Yun, and Senior Shui went to investigate, their saints had already discovered us. With such an opportunity, they definitely wouldn't set up a trap for us, said Night Sorrow with a smile. Choosing you as the commander of the Nine Regions world should be a blessing for us. But even if there's an ambush, there's still a chance, said the Grand Elder. It's not a chance, it's 100%. Because I'm Jun Xuanji, I'll definitely do it, said Night Sorrow. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless fantasy translation. At this moment, everyone nodded because Yi Shang's judgment was reasonable. Then how are you going to get there? Long Xianxing and the others had also arrived at Night Sorrow's tent. I know a little about arrays. If I discover that they've set up a large array, I'll use spatial rend and directly travel through the chaotic flow of space. That way I won't give them a chance to use their array. It's impossible for them to set up an array in the chaotic flow of space, said Night Sorrow with a smile. That's a good idea. Long Xianxing nodded. He knew that Night Sorrow had already made plans. When are we leaving? Asked Xiaolongjun. The sooner the better. Ren Tianji is heavily injured and Jun Xuanji won't attack for a while. If we're late they might attack at any time. At that time I won't be here and it won't be easy to defend, said Night Sorrow. After chatting with the seniors for a while, Night Sorrow arrived at the God-slaying squad's camp and clapped his hands. As Night Sorrow clapped, the members of the God-slaying squad gathered. Every time Night Sorrow clapped his hands, it was the order to gather. Everyone has been cultivating bitterly for a while. There's no point in just sharpening our blades without fighting. There'll be a big battle soon. Everyone come with me. Nan Liue, go get some supplies from City Lord Taishu and distribute them to everyone. Tomorrow we'll gather and fight, ordered Night Sorrow. Martial Uncle 13, is it murder, arson or robbery? Ma Shizhuang pulled Tang Tian and Chu Ning to Night Sorrow's side. We can't even beat the three of you. Work harder. Look, our God-slaying team has venerables and peak tier 5 venerables everywhere. You guys are still at tier 4, Night Sorrow said as he looked at the three of them. Ma Shizhuang, Tang Tian and Chu Ning nodded. They knew that they couldn't keep up with the pace with their 4th rank cultivation, but there was nothing they could do. Chapter 842. Okay, don't feel pressured. Just don't slack off, Night Sorrow said to the three of them. After giving his instructions, Yi Shang returned to his tent and chatted with his father and mother over tea. After resting for a while, Night Sorrow came out of his tent and went to the camp of the God-slaying squad. Sikong Chiyu, Yang Lei and Aoi were also there. Everyone don't resist. Enter the pagoda. I'll let you out when you need to fight. Night Sorrow waved his right hand and the pagoda returned to its 3-story height. Then the door opened. Then the members of the God-slaying squad all entered the pagoda. After seeing the members of the God-slaying team enter the pagoda of time and space, Yi Shan looked at Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling who were behind him. Okay, Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling nodded. Night Sorrow kept Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling who didn't resist into the pagoda. After keeping the pagoda, Night Sorrow nodded to Long Xianxing and the other saints. Then he looked at Yi Wuyo and Granduncle. Father and Granduncle City Lord will handle the rest. Stabilize this place first. I'll open up the situation in the Profound Mysteries realm. Then the direction of the war will change, Night Sorrow said. Be careful. Safety comes first, Yi Wuyo reminded Night Sorrow. Yu Qing's eyes were filled with worry. I'll be careful, Night Sorrow said. Then he nodded to Wu Lingfei who rushed over. Also, they've set up a defense line at the border of the Realm Sea of the Western Nether Territory. It's slightly weaker in the west, Yi Wuyo said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded. Then he cupped his fists to the others. Then he took out a spaceship and drove it away from the border. Riding a spaceship alone, how extravagant, Sky Underworld Saint muttered. What's wrong with being a little extravagant now? He needs to cultivate and maintain his peak condition. Long Xianxing said. In the 9 domains world, only Long Xianxing would not give any face to Heavenly Underworld Saint. What you said makes sense, but don't be so sharp, okay? Heavenly Underworld Saint looked at Long Xianxing with disdain and returned to his tent. Night Sorrow was in the airship, meditating and cultivating his foundation while strengthening his comprehension of the power of laws and increasing his soul force. The Realm Sea was 800,000 miles wide. Even the fastest flying ship, Night Sorrow, took nearly a day to arrive. Not far from the edge of the Realm Sea, Night Sorrow kept his flying ship, propped up his protective barrier, and approached the edge of the Realm Sea. He knew that the troops of the Profound Mysteries realm had built a defensive line, but their energy was focused on attacking, so the defensive line was not very strong. Besides, Night Sorrow believed that with his speed, he would have no problem breaking through the defensive line. Most importantly, Night Sorrow was not afraid of fighting. As long as there was an obstruction, he would dare to kill. After reaching the shore of the Realm Sea, Night Sorrow released his soul force and found where the troops of the Profound Mysteries realm were stationed. He went around them and entered the depths of the Western Nether region. After traveling for a while, Night Sorrow let Shui Wuling and Yun Tianlong out of the spacetime pagoda because they knew where the spatial passageway was. The three of them flew. While flying, Yun Tianlong also explained the current situation of the Western Nether region. Currently, the Profound Mysteries realm only managed a few large cities in the Western Nether region. They did not care about the smaller cities, and they did not even have any troops stationed there. The main reason was that they were helpless against Yi Wuyo and the others. Each time Yi Wuyo's group of 3 crossed the Realm Sea, they would fly through the gaps between the spatial laws of the Realm Sea and the spatial laws of the air. Adding on the fact that the Profound Mysteries realm's defensive line had yet to be completed, no one noticed them entering the Western Nether region. It won't be so easy next time. When I came here, I sensed that there were quite a few troops from the Profound Mysteries realm at the edge of the Realm Sea. Once we get entangled, their experts will arrive, said Night Sorrow. Under Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling's lead, the 3 of them traveled at full speed for 6 days before arriving at the Nether Mountain Range. That's not right. Last time we came here, the patrols were mostly venerables. There were even invincible venerables leading the patrols. This time they're all at the 5th rank, said Yun Tianlong. Haha, this is a trap. They're afraid that we won't be able to enter if they send high-level patrols, and they'll scare us away. But they're also afraid that we'll be alerted, so they sent 5th-rank patrols, said Night Sorrow with a smile. The new GS is the fastest G's coolest. That makes sense. Then how should we deal with them? I think this will be a terrifying trap, said Yun Tianlong. Let's get a bit closer. Their patrols won't be able to discover us. When the time comes, I'll enter chaotic space and charge straight through. We won't get entangled with them, said Night Sorrow. Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling then entered the space-time pagoda. That was because Night Sorrow would have to deal with the ambush. They wouldn't be able to help him. With the reincarnation spear in hand, Yi Shang quietly approached the entrance of the spatial passageway. Relying on his soul power to investigate, it was easy for Yi Shang to avoid the patrol team formed by rank 5 cultivators. When he was still 30 li away from the spatial passageway, Yi Shang stopped. Night Sorrow saw traces of a formation. The space and energy in front of them weren't flowing naturally. In other words, it was a sign that someone was interfering with them. Smiling, Night Sorrow used spatial rend and stealthily entered the spatial channel, entering chaotic space. With the power of laws protecting him, the spatial storms in the spatial channel couldn't approach or threaten Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow traveled through the chaotic space at a speed similar to the 9 regions world. As he moved forward, Night Sorrow narrowed his eyes. He could feel that the spatial barrier had changed. It became thicker and tougher. This made him understand that the space had been strengthened. This meant that regardless of whether it was in chaotic space or the 9 regions world, it would be difficult to break through space. This was a method targeted at him and Yi Wuyo. Night Sorrow traveled through the spatial turbulence and quickly neared the entrance of the spatial tunnel. This area was rather complicated. It was the border between the 9 zones world, the spatial tunnel, and the spatial turbulence. However, Night Sorrow had already passed the area where the other party had set up an ambush. Night Sorrow used spatial rend and cut open the spatial barrier. Then he cut the space in the spatial channel again. It was equivalent to using spatial rend twice in a row. After using spatial rend, Night Sorrow's body flashed out of the chaotic space of the 9 regions world. Then he entered the spatial channel and the spatial channel. Finally, he smoothed out the spatial fluctuations. All of this happened in an instant. Night Sorrow's actions were fast, but the energy fluctuations still attracted some people's attention. 5 to 6 invincible venerables appeared near the spatial channel at the same time. After checking around, they didn't find anything. They were very puzzled. Don't worry. With the spatial channel as the base, I'll set up a circular formation. The surrounding 15 kilometers will be enveloped by the formation. As long as someone comes, we'll know, Gutianyu said confidently. After using his spiritual strength to check the outside, Night Sorrow traveled forward in the chaotic space and headed toward the Profound Mysteries realm. Chapter 843. A moment later, Night Sorrow charged through the spatial passageway. However, a spatial barrier appeared in front of him. It was the spatial barrier of the Profound Mysteries realm. Night Sorrow once again used the spatial rift and entered the spatial turbulence of the Profound Mysteries realm. After probing, Night Sorrow discovered that the Profound Mysteries realm was indeed ruthless. They had set up array formations on both sides of the spatial passageway and had invincible supremacies guarding them. Although the power of his bloodline was somewhat depleted, Night Sorrow had the Nihility Law and the Nihility Protective Barrier to protect him. Thus, he had no problem traveling through the spatial turbulence. After traveling for 200 miles in the spatial turbulence, Night Sorrow used the spatial rift and exited the spatial turbulence. After exiting the spatial turbulence, Night Sorrow's body flashed and he entered the 60th floor of the spacetime pagoda to recover. Now that he was in the profound mysteries realm, which was his opponent's territory, Night Sorrow knew that it was important to maintain his peak combat strength at all times. During this period he had not consumed much, but more than half of his bloodline power had been consumed. An hour later, Night Sorrow had recovered to his peak state. After drinking a mouthful of wine, Night Sorrow exited the spacetime pagoda and brought Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling out. Night Sorrow wanted to listen to Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling's suggestions. After all, their experience was not something he could compare to. We need information. We need to know more about the profound mysteries realm. Also, we need a map. That way we can do whatever we want, Yun Tianlong said after pondering for a moment. Then let's find a city to settle down in first. Fortunately, we are the same as the humans in the profound mysteries realm. We don't have to worry about being exposed. Night Sorrow nodded. After 2 days, Night Sorrow and the other two arrived at the nearest city to the spatial passageway in the profound mysteries realm, Three Sun City. After entering the city, Night Sorrow and the other two easily bought a world map of the profound mysteries realm. They also bought some miscellaneous books and anecdotes. Then the three of them entered a tea house. As they drank tea they studied the map. After studying the map, Night Sorrow's group of three began to read the miscellaneous books. As they read, Night Sorrow's group gained a better understanding of the profound mysteries realm. In the profound mysteries realm, the strongest and most influential sect was the Profound Mysteries Pavilion. The Profound Pavilion had an extraordinary status in the profound mysteries realm. It never interfered with the struggles of the clans and sections. However, it commanded all the forces. If any force disobeyed the Profound Pavilion's orders, it would be obliterated and cease to exist in the Profound Mysteries realm. The person in charge of the Profound Pavilion was either the Holy Son or the Holy Daughter. I didn't expect it to be like this. I think that woman called Xuanhuan must be the Holy Maiden of the Profound Pavilion. That's why she was able to command the heroes of the Profound Mysteries realm, said Shui Wuling. That should be the case. The Profound Pavilion is very powerful and can command all the forces. That's why they can unite all the cultivators in the Profound Mysteries realm, Night Sorrow said as he sipped his tea. The Profound Mysteries Royal City is the #1 city. The Profound Pavilion's headquarters is in the Profound Mysteries Mountain. That's their lair. However, they must have many experts. We might not be able to take them down, said Yun Tianlong. Don't worry. Saints can't participate in the battle. Most of the invincible honorables have been transferred to the 9 domains world. We have nothing to worry about. Let's attack the Profound Mysteries Mountain and destroy the Profound Pavilion's lair, said Night Sorrow. We'll listen to you. We haven't even started killing yet, but I can already feel my blood boiling, said Shui Wuling with a smile. If we can fight, we'll fight. If we exhaust ourselves, we'll run. It's not that difficult. Besides, they'll only feel pain when their important places are destroyed. Only then will it be effective, said Night Sorrow. Then Night Sorrow, Yun Tianlong, and Shui Wuling arrived at the teleportation array in the Three Sun City and began the teleportation. Free reading for a long time, 9 novels. After a few teleportations, the three of them arrived at the central region of the Profound Mysteries realm, the Profound Mysteries Royal City. After finding an inn to stay in, Night Sorrow entered the Pagoda of Time and Space. He transferred Shui Wuling and Yun Tianlong inside as well. He needed to make some tactical arrangements. We'll fight however you want, said Yun Tianlong. He believed in Night Sorrow's plans and tactics. They had been tested in battle. Everyone has kerosene and poison, right? When the battle starts, everyone starts burning and killing. Remember, don't touch those without cultivation, especially the children. War has nothing to do with children, said Night Sorrow to the god-slaying team. After the group nodded, Night Sorrow looked at Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling. Their invincible honorables and peak honorables are probably in the western nether region of the 9 domains world. Therefore, no matter which force it is, there won't be more than 3 experts. When the battle starts, the 3 of us will restrain and kill the enemy's experts. We can't let the experts pose a threat to the god-slaying team. All right. Their saints won't dare to make a move. The 3 of us will hold off their top experts. There won't be any problems. Shui Wuling nodded. The god-slaying team is in charge of destruction and killing their cultivators. The other thing is resources. Since they dare to snatch the resources of our 9-domain world, we'll move the resources of the Profound Mysteries realm back to our 9-domain world, Yishan said to the members of the god-slaying team. Yes, sir. The god-slaying team members replied to Night Sorrow by tapping on their breastplates. Tonight, we'll destroy the Profound Pavilion's lair, Profound Mountain. "We'll burn down their mountain and rob them of their resources," said Night Sorrow. After resting for the night, Night Sorrow put on the Night Moon King battle armor and transferred Xianxia out of the pagoda of time and space. He rode on Xianxia and rushed toward Profound Mountain. The distance between Profound Imperial City and Profound Mountain wasn't very far. It was only a few thousand miles. When they arrived at Profound Mountain's entrance, Night Sorrow blasted the signboard with the words, "Profound Pavilion," into pieces with a single spear strike. Then, Night Sorrow brandished his reincarnation spear and killed the Profound Pavilion disciples guarding the mountain gate with a few spear rays. Xianxia flew at a low altitude. His sharp claws and wings slashed out sharp blades, killing the Profound Pavilion disciples who tried to stop them and warn them. Profound Mountain was very big. It took Xianxia 15 minutes to reach the Profound Pavilion's main hall as he flew at top speed. Following the warning of the enemy's attack, the plaza of the Profound Pavilion's main hall was filled with disciples of the Profound Pavilion. However, the leader was only a peak venerable, and there was also an old man with snow-white hair and a beard that Yishang couldn't see through. Night Sorrow knew that the old man was a saint, but he didn't care. "Who are you? How dare you cause trouble in the Profound Pavilion's holy land?" The old man shouted at Night Sorrow, who was standing on Xianxu's back. "Night Sorrow of the Nine Regions World. This is a war between the Nine Regions World and the Profound Mysteries Realm. Do you dare to interfere?" Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and roared. The old man glanced at Night Sorrow, then at the Profound Pavilion's troops. He didn't say anything. Profound Pavilion is now a war zone. If you dare to interfere, you know the result. Also, you can't take away any of the resources here. Otherwise, you'll be interfering in the war, Night Sorrow snorted coldly. The old man glared fiercely at Night Sorrow, then retreated. 2 days ago, a high-level saint had interfered in the war and was killed by the world's laws. He didn't want to become the second, so he could only leave the war zone. As the Profound Pavilion's disciples charged forward, Night Sorrow waved his left hand and released the people he'd brought with him. According to the plan, kill all the core members of the Profound Pavilion. Didn't they want to start a war? Then kill them. With a roar, Night Sorrow soared into the air and charged at the peak venerable. Right now, there were only 3 people who could threaten the safety of the god-slaying team. If Night Sorrow could deal with one, Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling would easily deal with the rest. Chapter 844. Night Sorrow's target was a peak venerable. This peak venerable was the vice pavilion lord of the mysterious pavilion, Yuhang. The Profound Pavilion didn't have a pavilion master, only a holy maiden and a holy son. Currently, aside from the holy maiden Jun Xuanji and the saint-level grand elders, Yuhang's status and position were the highest in the Profound Pavilion. Hence, he stayed here to guard the Profound Pavilion. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear stabbed over. Yuhang waved his blade and slashed at Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. In Yuhang's eyes, Night Sorrow and he were both level 9 venerables. Night Sorrow had just become a level 9 venerable, while he was at the peak of level 9. He wouldn't be at a disadvantage if he faced Night Sorrow head-on. Bang! Following a loud explosion, Yuhang was sent flying by Night Sorrow's spear. His feet left 2 deep grooves in the ground. Night Sorrow stomped with his right foot, causing the hard ground of the plaza to crack. Some of the disciples of the mysterious pavilion who were rushing toward Night Sorrow were sent flying. At this moment, Night Sorrow soared into the sky and caught up with Yuhang in a flash. Once again he stabbed his reincarnation spear at Yuhang. Night Sorrow had unleashed the power of the law of nothingness in this spear strike, as well as the nothingness true energy extreme kill. Yuhang's expression changed drastically. He couldn't dodge in time and could only swing his blade again. Without a sound or breath, Yishang's reincarnation spear clashed with Yuhang's battle saber without any sound. Yuhang's battle saber was broken by Yishang's reincarnation spear, and the spear light of the reincarnation spear pierced into Yuhang's chest. Yuhang spat out blood and retreated. His eyes were filled with shock. Night Sorrow was too strong. He couldn't fight against him at all. Night Sorrow wouldn't give Yuhang a chance to escape. He used his protective energy shield to cut forward, and the reincarnation spear pierced Yuhang's chest. Then his vital energy exploded, breaking all of Yuhang's meridians and dantian. Yuhang grabbed the shaft of Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. His eyes were filled with confusion and bewilderment. He was a peak 9th level venerable, but he was killed by Night Sorrow, an early 9th level venerable, in 3 moves. After taking Yuhang's storage ring, Night Sorrow brandished his reincarnation spear and started to hunt down the other opponents from the mysterious pavilion who were mid-level venerable ones and above. The area covered by the battle grew larger and larger, mainly because some of the disciples of the Profound Pavilion had fled, and the members of the God-slaying team chased after them. An hour later the battle ended. Nan Liue and Xuanhuan led their men to harvest the spoils of war. Liang Yu, Ling Long, Ho Jian, and the others held torches and were about to start a fire. Don't go too far. The white-haired saint reappeared in the plaza of the Profound Pavilion, glaring at Night Sorrow with murderous intent. You're the one who wanted to attack the 9 regions world. Now you're telling me not to go too far. Brothers, burn this place down. We still need to sweep the various branches of the Profound Pavilion. Night Sorrow didn't care about the saint's words. The white-haired old man was so angry that his body trembled, but he didn't dare to attack. If he did, he would be interfering in the war. Even though he was from the Profound Mysteries realm, the origin of the Profound Mysteries realm wouldn't let him off if he went against the Heavenly Tao Oath. The Profound Pavilion's main hall, which had been passed down for countless years, had been plundered clean by the God-slaying team and turned into a ball of raging flames. Get on your mounts and sweep all the halls of the Profound Pavilion. Night Sorrow roared and leaped onto the back of Xianxia, who had come to pick him up, and flew toward the other peaks of the Profound Pavilion. Aside from the main peak, there were 11 other peaks in the Medicine Valley. The Profound Pavilion was the same, and there were many other pavilions and halls. After a long time, the Profound Pavilion was destroyed without the unrivaled venerables around, and the saints didn't dare to attack. All that was left were broken beams and tiles that were still burning. Night Sorrow and the others left after robbing a large amount of resources. Night Sorrow was very cautious. After leaving for a distance, he put everyone into the space-time pagoda and then entered the turbulent space. After traveling for hundreds of miles and making sure that no one could follow them, he left the spatial crack and entered the space-time pagoda. Everyone pay attention to your recovery. We need to destroy the Profound Mysteries realm's Profound Mysteries Imperial City before they can react. We need to deal the greatest damage to them, Yishan said as he looked at the excited members of the God-slaying squad. Captain, this is a war between worlds. It's not appropriate for me to keep the resources. These 3 storage rings contain the spoils of the war. The Profound Pavilion is really rich. Nan Liue took out 3 storage rings and handed them to Night Sorrow. After thinking for a moment, Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that the war resources belonged to the 9 domains world, so it wasn't appropriate for the God-slaying team to keep them. He looked at Yin Tianlong. Don't look at me. I came out to fight with you. I don't care about anything else. Yun Tianlong shook his head. Don't look at me either. I came out with you to kill, haha. Shui Wuling laughed. Then we'll talk about it when we get back. Right now, let's focus on recovering. We have to race against time. We have to attack their core city, the Profound Mysteries Imperial City, as soon as possible. Then we'll attack the other sects and sects, said Night Sorrow. Everyone nodded. Yishang was discussing and asking for everyone's opinion, but at this moment, everyone treated Yishang's words as an order. Once the news spreads, the Profound Mysteries realm troops stationed in the Western Nether region will return to reinforce us. The pressure on the 3 origin regions' defense line will be relieved, said Shui Wuling. Shui Wuling said. He knew that destroying Shenji Pavilion would be the turning point of this War of the Worlds. Right now, the Profound Mysteries realm was in a passive position. The 9 domains world could resist the invasion of the Profound Mysteries realm in the 3 origin region, but the Profound Mysteries realm couldn't. They would have to face the attacks of the 9 domains world's troops. Most importantly, no one below the Saint realm in the Profound Mysteries realm could fight against Night Sorrow. This was also the 9 domains world's advantage in having experts below the Saint realm. This advantage wasn't something the Profound Mysteries realm could equalize. After resting for 2 hours, everyone was back in peak condition. Night Sorrow told them their next tactic. They would first control the Profound Mysteries Imperial City's transportation formation. They couldn't let the Profound Mysteries realm's cultivators come to reinforce them. Night Sorrow, it's going to be difficult this time. We've already seen the Profound Mysteries Imperial City. It's bigger than any of the 9 domains royal cities, and there are a lot of cultivators there. If it turns into a war of attrition, it won't be fun. Shui Wuling looked at Night Sorrow. Cool K for a long time free of charge P reading /G novel. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that the safety of himself, Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling was not a problem. However, the God-slaying squad was not. Once they were exhausted, they would be killed. Night Sorrow did not want to see that happen. After making his decision, Night Sorrow exited the space-time pagoda and flew towards Profound Secrets Royal City. When he arrived at Profound Secrets Imperial City, Night Sorrow saw a scene of panic. The news of Profound Secrets Pavilion's destruction had already spread. This had a huge impact on the Profound Secrets realm. Profound Secrets Pavilion could be said to be the faith of all cultivators in the Profound Secrets realm. How serious was the destruction of their faith? Knight Sorrow rushed to the vicinity of the teleportation formation. With a wave of his reincarnation spear, he killed the two mid-level supremacies guarding the teleportation formation. Knight Sorrow controlled the power of rule and could easily kill a mid-level venerable. Following which, Knight Sorrow removed the teleportation crystal from the teleportation array and teleported everyone out of the space-time pagoda. Chapter 845. Knight Sorrow, Yun Tianlong, and Shui Wuling led the god-slaying team towards Profound Secrets Imperial City's City Lord's residence. They wanted to destroy the City Lord's residence first. That had symbolic meaning. While Yi Shang and the others were flying towards the Profound Secrets Imperial City's City Lord's mansion, a man was reporting about the destruction of the Profound Secrets Pavilion in the 9 Regions World's Western Nether Region's East Cloud City. How did this happen? When did they get there? Isn't there an annihilation formation at the spatial tunnel entrance? Aren't there guards on both sides? Xianxia grabbed the man's collar and roared. Grand Elder, I'm not sure. Vice Pavilion Master Yu was killed, and the Profound Secrets Palace and 7 branch palaces were all burned down, the man continued to explain. We have to go back as quickly as we can. Saints can't interfere in the war. Our invincible venerables and peak venerables are all here. The Profound Secrets realm doesn't have many experts, so we can't stop their attacks, Shang Luo said somewhat anxiously. We saints can't interfere in the war. The Open Cloud Saint's death is the result of interfering in the war. Hurry up, Xianxia said through gritted teeth. He was the Grand Elder of the Profound Secrets Pavilion, so he had to bear a large part of the responsibility. Xuanhuan's expression was ashen. How did this happen? We clearly set up a killing trap at the spatial tunnel entrance that could have heavily injured them. Why didn't it work? Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation, let's not talk about that for now. Right now we need to resolve the crisis, said Xianxia. Xuanhuan nodded helplessly. She knew she couldn't attack because both Xianxia and Shang Luo cared about the Profound Secrets Realm's foundation. They wouldn't allow her to ignore the Profound Secrets Realm and fight against the 9 Regions world. The high-level cultivators would go back to save the situation, while the low-level cultivators would be killed if they stayed. So they had to retreat. Xuanhuan gave the order to retreat. Arriving at the spatial tunnel entrance, Xuanhuan arranged for Ren Tianji, who had recovered his strength, to stand guard. Then he led the others to teleport towards Profound Secrets Imperial City. They were just one more teleportation away from the Profound Secrets Imperial City. Xuanhuan and the others couldn't teleport because all the teleportation crystals in Profound Secrets Imperial City's teleportation formation had been taken away by Knight Sorrow. It would take a long time to fly hundreds of thousands of miles. Damn it. Even Profound Secrets Imperial City is under attack. Being unable to teleport proved that there was a problem with the transmission array. How could Xianxia not analyze that there was a problem with Profound Secrets Imperial City? Knight Sorrow's group killed along the way, all the way until they reached the Profound Secrets City Lord Manor. At that moment, quite a number of people came out from the City Lord's mansion. Leading them was an old man in brocade robes. The old man's battle intent was very strong. Originally, I didn't want to participate in the war between the 9 Domains world and the Xuanji realm. But since you came, I had to fight. This Xuanji Imperial City belongs to the Jun family. If you touch Xuanji Imperial City, you will fight to the death with my Jun family. The old man took out a 4-foot-long sword and said to Knight Sorrow and the others. The most influential force in the Profound Mysteries realm was the Profound Pavilion, the largest sect was the Profound Heavensword sect, and the most famous and powerful family was the Jun family. Xuanhuan came from the Jun family of the Profound Secrets Imperial City's City Lord's estate. This old man was the head of the Jun family and the City Lord of Profound Secrets Imperial City, Jun Tianya. This is a war between 2 worlds. If your Profound Mysteries realm attacks, then it's normal for us to attack back. No one is innocent. There is only victory and defeat. Knight Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear. Then come. Jun Tianya waved his sword and slashed at Knight Sorrow. Seeing Jun Tianya attack, Knight Sorrow activated his law energy to protect himself. Following that, the reincarnation spear also violently attacked. Knight Sorrow normally didn't use his law energy to protect himself. However, Jun Tianya was very strong and could pose a threat to him. Peak venerables and unrivaled venerables were indistinguishable when they weren't fighting. They were both peak 9th rank venerables. The only difference was their combat strength, and that was only when they fought. Xianxia waved his sword. The sword chi he released had 3 kinds of law energy coiled around it. Night Sorrow was also suppressed by the law energy, which was why he used his law energy to counterattack. He knew that Xianxia wasn't a peak venerable but a half-saint. After activating his law energy to protect himself, Night Sorrow was no longer suppressed by Xianxia. The void true chi on the reincarnation spear collided with Xianxia's 3-attribute energy. In terms of attribute energy research, Xianxia was stronger. However, no matter how deep his attribute energy research was, it was useless against the void true chi. It was completely neutralized. Following an explosion, Yishang retreated 2 steps, but Xianxia retreated even further. This was the result of Yishang's strong body and tyrannical strength. The Jun family was very strong. Other than Xianxia, there was another peak venerable. However, Yin Tianlong blocked him. Shui Wuling's speed was astonishing. She directly blocked the 2 high-rank venerables. She had no choice but to block them. High-rank venerables were harmful to the god-slaying squad. The battle was very intense. With someone blocking the peak venerables and high-rank venerables, the god-slaying squad was invincible. They started to kill crazily. Night Sorrow suppressed Xianxia. However, it was impossible for him to end the battle quickly. Yun Qianlong's attack was ferocious, but the opponent was also very strong. This situation made Night Sorrow a little anxious. The battle here was very loud. There were many cultivators in Xuanji Imperial City. If the battle couldn't end quickly, it would be troublesome. While Night Sorrow was anxious, Shui Wuling made an achievement. She killed a high-rank venerable and then suppressed the last high-rank venerable. Victory was only a matter of time. Night Sorrow was relieved. As long as there was one more invincible venerable, the situation would be under control. After calming down, Night Sorrow started to fight with Xianxia. In order to end the battle quickly, Night Sorrow used the law of nothingness to suppress Xianxia. The reincarnation spear violently bombarded him. At the same time, he was ready to use the soul-extinguishing slash. During this period of time, Night Sorrow's cultivation had been rapidly increasing. Although he didn't deliberately cultivate, the soul-extinguishing slash's crescent blade in Night Sorrow's spirit sea became more and more condensed. Now, Night Sorrow was looking for an opportunity to kill Xianxia. Yin Tianlong was very annoyed. His opponent's cultivation was clearly inferior to his, but he was like a loach. He just didn't want to fight with him. Just as Yin Tianlong was about to use a large-scale attack, a sword light flashed. Yin Tianlong's opponent's protective energy shield was torn apart. His body was cut open by the sword chi. Shui Wuling had casually attacked this peak venerable when she was chasing after her opponent. "You go. Leave this one to me." Shui Wuling shouted and took over Yin Tianlong. Yin Tianlong nodded and went to chase after Shui Wuling's opponent. Yin Tianlong and Shui Wuling were 2 extremes. Yin Qianlong's attack was powerful, but speed was not his forte. Shui Wuling's speed was invincible, but the strength of her attack was average. Now that the opponent was changed, the situation would change. Chapter 846. Xianxia was very strong. If Night Sorrow wasn't here, he wouldn't have a problem fighting Yin Tianlong or Shui Wuling because he had comprehended 3 types of laws. However, Night Sorrow's law of nothingness was too overbearing, completely suppressing his advantage. He couldn't contend against Night Sorrow's power and the tyranny of nothingness true energy, so he was suppressed to the point of being forced to retreat. After blasting Xianxia back again, Night Sorrow used the soul-extinguishing slash because Xianxia's true energy was unstable at this time and his defense was weak. As Night Sorrow released the soul-extinguishing slash, a deep purple crescent blade streaked across the air, passing through Xianxia's protective chi shield and cutting towards his spirit sea. Xianxia's expression changed. His soul power surged out to block Night Sorrow's soul-extinguishing slash. At this time, Night Sorrow, who had used the Void Extreme Slash, rushed in front of Xianxia and pierced his reincarnation spear towards Xianxia's chest. Xianxia, who was defending his spirit sea with all his strength, could only wave his sword to block Night Sorrow's spear. As the 2 weapons collided, a purple halo erupted from the tip of Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. The halo directly annihilated the part where Xianxia's sword and Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear clashed. After breaking Xianxia's weapon, Night Sorrow's right hand shook. The spear light burst out and directly broke Xianxia's protective chi shield, rushing into Xianxia's body and blasting him away. When the body was attacked, the soul power was naturally affected. Night Sorrow's soul-extinguishing slash broke through Xianxia's Spirit Sea defense and directly slashed into his Spirit Sea. When his Spirit Sea was attacked, Xianxia was like a wooden man standing there foolishly. Night Sorrow's spear pierced into his dantian and then shattered it. Night Sorrow then pierced Xianxia's Spirit Sea with another spear, completely killing him. After taking Xianxia's storage ring and broken sword, Night Sorrow joined the other battle groups. At the same time he gave the order to burn down the city lord's mansion and rob it. With the support of Night Sorrow, Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling, who were all below the saint stage, the god-slaying team had no pressure in the battle. They carried out Night Sorrow's orders directly. Night Sorrow, it's not a big problem. There are many people here but there aren't many high-level venerables, Yun Tianlong said. This time we caught them off guard. In future battles it won't be so easy. We have to be faster. Although I removed the split crystal from the teleportation array, the sects near Profound Secret's royal city must have teleportation arrays. They will still teleport back, Night Sorrow said. Half an hour later, the god-slaying squad finished sweeping through the Profound Secret's Imperial City's City Lord Manor. Nan Liyue handed over several storage rings to Night Sorrow. Retreat. While retreating, set fire to the city. Don't linger in battle, Night Sorrow ordered. After that, Night Sorrow led the way in front while Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling supported him from behind. They rushed out of the city. The members of the god-slaying team didn't stay idle either. They continuously threw out torches, poison and poisonous water. Behind the group of people was a burning building. An hour later, the group left the Profound Secret's royal city. Night Sorrow put the members of the god-slaying team into the space-time pagoda and quickly flew with Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling. At this moment, Xuanhuan appeared in Profound Secret's royal city with his men. Looking at the mess and the soaring flames of the city, their faces were filled with fury. We're still too late. The furious xianxia spat out a mouthful of blood, dyeing his white robe red. Profound Secret's royal city's teleportation formation couldn't be used. Knowing that Profound Secret's royal city was under attack, Xuanhuan brought his men to the Wandering Cloud Sword sect and flew towards Profound Secret's royal city. However, they still didn't make it in time. Xuanhuan arrived in front of Xianxia's corpse and looked at the wounds on his abdomen and head. Night Sorrow, you and I are irreconcilable. I'll definitely grind your bones to dust. Xianxia's body was covered with spear wounds. In the Nine Regions world, the strongest spear user below the Saint Realm was Night Sorrow. No matter how furious Xuanhuan was, the only thing she could do now was to deal with the aftermath and stabilize the situation. Several thousand miles away from Profound Secret's royal city, Night Sorrow led out the members of the god-slaying team and had them set up camp and prepare food. Night Sorrow, these two battles were beautiful. It can be said that the victory of our Nine Regions world has been decided. They won't dare to fight in the Nine Regions world after this, Shui Wuling said with a smile. We have too few people. It'll be troublesome if we're surrounded and intercepted. What we need to do now is to return to the Nine Regions world and take down the spatial passageway. After that, we'll bring our men to the Profound Secret's realm, Night Sorrow explained his plan. That's the best decision. I was really worried. You can just lead us here and kill. We can launch sneak attacks. If we fight head-on we won't be a match for them, Yun Tianlong said with a smile. King Yun, Senior Shui, if you have any ideas you can tell me. Our goal is to win the war, Night Sorrow said as he took out 2 jars of wine and tossed them to Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling. You've arranged it well. It's just that when you pass by the spatial passageway on your way back, you must be careful, Shui Wuling said after taking a sip of wine. Thank you for the reminder, Senior Shui. Night Sorrow nodded. Forever. Free novel reading. After resting for a while, Night Sorrow put everyone into the time-space treasure pagoda. He looked at the map and started flying. He wanted to find the nearest city and teleport to Three Sun City. One day later, Night Sorrow entered a city called Heavenly Strategy City. Dressed in white robes, Night Sorrow looked like a young master. No one would associate him with the Killing God or the Nine Regions commander. News of the war was spreading in Heavenly Strategy City. Profound Secret's pavilion was destroyed and half of Profound Secret's royal city was destroyed. This was a huge blow to the Profound Secret's realm. After teleporting to Three Sun City, Night Sorrow flew directly to the spatial passageway. He had to go back and organize the battle as soon as possible. When he arrived near the spatial passageway, Night Sorrow used the same method. He tore open the space and advanced through the spatial turbulence. Gutianyu's formation was very domineering, but so what? The spatial passageway Night Sorrow was moving through was completely different from the one he had set up. The inescapable net was useless. Within the spatial turbulence, Night Sorrow used his spiritual strength to probe the spatial passageway. He found that the strength of the ambush at the spatial passageway was not as strong as before. This meant that the profound secrets realm's people had already retreated. After passing through the blockade, Night Sorrow had Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling leave the time-space treasure pagoda. He told them that in order to confirm the situation in the Western Nether region, it would be best to first go to Western Nether City and Eastern Cloud City to investigate. Shui Wuling and Yun Tianlong naturally agreed. The two of them had absolute faith in Night Sorrow. After investigating, the three of them found that Western Nether City and Eastern Cloud City were empty cities that had been looted. There were no profound secrets realm people there. Taking out a flying ship, Night Sorrow sent the god-slaying squad out of the time-space treasure pagoda. They all drank and chatted. "Haha, we destroyed their biggest sect and city. That's really satisfying," laughed Yun Tianlong.